Hello, everybody, and welcome to Chaotic Neutral Games. I'm laughing because, and Kate's going to kill me for this tomorrow, but she's been making me laugh by trying just to do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Sorry, love you, Kate. And we are launching straight back into 2020 as of last week. with the lovely Mirror Manga playing Beryl Boggs, the half hobgoblin, I think she is. She's either hobgoblin or half hobgoblin, captain of the Deputation, a fantasy mercenary police guild that goes throughout the whole of Valeria, and Beryl Boggs is the captain in Ostergard, who's been helping with her people to get rid of the siege of Ostergard. However, the main siege has been broken thanks to the player characters here of the Benefactor. They managed to open up the gates to get the people of Freetown in. Once chaos ensued and the demons within the city and the architect himself or itself, um, we found out was not capable of dealing with individuality and just so much data and so many things going on at the same time, that they were able to cut through the city very easily, getting to an arcane observatory. This proud ancient building, warded in many ways, was the source of the rift that finally managed to allow the architect access to the prime material plane. During the confrontation with the architect, they managed to find out quite a few things. First of all, the architect is an ancient being, if its own testimony is to be believed, created by the gods themselves. There was a hint that maybe from the dawn of creation, and there was a boast that hopefully isn't true, that somehow the gods threw the architect into the abyss in order to no longer have to deal with it, that they somehow couldn't deal with it, and so had to just cast it aside as far as they could, rather than facing it. Certainly a terrible portent for the party. But they managed to stop the architect from getting to this plane of existence, using a mixture of detect magic and by a little bit of prompting from Renata Green, Farewell Barebones took hold of his very large obsidian knife, slashed in front of the, well, actually, no, he held it in front of the near closed rift and changed the fate of the rift to one where it either had closed or maybe never opened at all. That wasn't made clear. All they know is that it's gone. The bodies of the people who had managed to go into this building for refuge and then being slaughtered in the effort, the bodies disappeared, leaving only one survivor remaining. A small child, baby, crying out, cold and alone, but then picked up by Renata Green herself, and now seemingly safe. Eclipse of the Moon managed to do something that Renata Green wasn't prepared for. For all her usual protections, she had to focus a lot of her efforts, a lot of her power, on the architect itself. By jumping into the mind of Renata Green using the Detect Thoughts spell, she went through many layers, seemingly defenses, almost by wrapping one's memories and persona around oneself, and then getting to the core and speaking to Renata, who had been focused into dealing with this powerful entity. Being able to converse with Renata for the first time, Eclipse spoke to Cora, thanks to their psychic link given to them by the Geminax, and then Cora to Farewell, in order for the right thing to happen. I have to admit, I didn't know how they were going to get out of this. This was a different encounter. Instead of it being crunching down those hit points, this was a narrative combat. Kind of a problem to solve, not fully knowing what solution they'd come up with. It's one of the wonderful things about D&D. So now we rejoined them, standing in the middle of the observatory with Renata Green in front of them. Actually, I think they're on a carpet and she's hovering above the ground, holding this babe in arms after the revelation, at least to Eclipse of the Moon, and I think the others are just cottoning on, the Renata Green is someone special. You see, there's one type of magic that is banned, but both by the mortal races, good and evil, and by the gods, good and evil, and that is the ability to manipulate time. 875 years ago, in Illyria, Orcus walked the earth. Something happened, something terrible, something that's lost to the annals of history. And one thing they do know is that a giant magical time effect was used to somehow remedy whatever went on. And since then, the act of chronomancy has been forbidden. However, one thing that's been made clear, certainly to our inquisitive Kitty, is that Renata Green is the last chronomancer in Illyria. And so, with that quick catch-up, we're going to start episode 57 of The Benefactor.
We're back.
Oh, we're back. We are back.
Hello.
Okay.
Sorry, I said we're going back in now, meaning now.
Oh, no. Hello. I get a 5 count, then I get a
You
now.
don't get a 5 count. You just go right. So slick and
I don't know
professional.
what's happening.
Do the D&D. Do the D&D now.
Do the D&D now. The D&D
Okay.
starts now.
So, welcome back, everybody, and thank you for an absolutely cracking episode last session.
Thanks to you.
Thanks to you guys as well. I mean, I kind of started throwing together, and I think I talked a little bit about this after the stream, but I had certain kind of milestone things that I wanted to do. So it's like, you have to mention this, you have to mention that. This is a challenge. How they fix it, you just have to be satisfied with it. There's no answer, or there's no written answer. And just really just riffing. And it was just a whole combat of riffing. It was like an imagination combat, I guess, or something like that. And you guys didn't blink. You didn't kind of go, where's the numbers that I have to bring down to 0? You just kind of cracked on with it and played the narrative, which was an absolute delight, I have to say. So, really well done. And thank you again to Mira, who joined us for that. And that's not going to be the last time we see her. May not even be the last time that you see Beryl Boggs. And I love the Discworld in her voice. Oh my God, I want to do a Discworld roleplay now. Oh, anyway, enough of that. You guys are now stood in an arcane observatory, which, as I say, has no telescope. It's just a big dome. Think Hogwarts Hall type illusion at the top, looking at the stars. And this is kind of an amphitheater. You walked in into what would normally be kind of an arena entrance, and there's these kind of marble steps that go up all the way around that also double up as seating. And this is where the scholars would normally come with their spell books and their orbs, and they would just pick a spot, almost like they're picnicking. And they would stare up at the night sky any time of the day, and be able to use that connection with the cosmos to be able to look either into the past, the future, which is not chronomancy, by the way. So divination, prophecy, all of that jazz, that is not chronomancy. Chronomancy is changing time. Yeah. Similarly, to be specific, because I had a question regarding this, and thank you for Ed who asked me. Chronomancy does not include the slow spell or the haste spell. Those time works the same during those things because it's your metabolism, your movement is kinetic speed up and slow down rather than being time manipulated. Okay. So, with that ahead, you have in front of you, I think still hovering, unless you guys came down to ground level. I didn't have enough time to check. You still have hovering about 20 foot up in the air, Renata Green holding this babe in arms, who is now incredibly quiet. She has done her best to pull the swaddling clothes around the babe to the point where you can't even see the face anymore. And the baby seems to have responded really well to that. She's holding it with a certain amount of fear, the whole kind of I haven't had a baby before and now I'm holding one kind of fear, but also she seems to be holding it, if not kindly, at least reverentially. She's taking care. You're seeing a side of her usual polite, kindly, but authoritative form. You're seeing a personality coming out here. You're seeing a certain amount of vulnerability. And the conversation now has ground down to a somewhat of a series of statements and awkward silences.
Well,
you can
Eclipse. If are we allowed to say something?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So Eclipse will turn, because this is something she discovered when she was in Renata's mind, but she will turn around and say, so everybody else knows it as well, and say, as a statement, you knew that you knew all of this was gonna happen. You
Yes.
knew we were gonna blow up the facility. You knew we were gonna come here and potentially save the city.
Yes. I didn't know the fine details. I knew the important details. The twists and turns that time and fate take. Unfortunately, it's a delicate process to be able to ride the various possibilities to the future where the positive outcome happens. I couldn't talk to you about it. I couldn't guide you any more than simply throwing you in the right direction. But yes, I did.
So you knew also who had taken our memories.
Yes, that was me.
Oh, I thought it was an illithid.
Yes, that was me. I'm not the illithid. I have one on my staff. 3.
Insight check. No, I'm joking.
Well, why?
Plot twist, she's not a chronomancer, she's an illithid.
Rips her face off.
She hasn't been manipulating time, she just makes you think she is, because she wants you to think she's cooler than she is.
Yeah. Do not look at the woman behind the curtain.
Now don't look at the squid behind the curtain. But yeah.
Yeah. So you knew the entire time. Wait. No, I'm kind of beyond words. I'm like really kind of pissed off.
Okay. Why? I kind of want to know why. You were the one making the facility in the first place, which was the thing that brought him here and let him know about everybody. Loads of people have frickin' died. And why? Like, did it all have to happen this way? I don't really understand.
In the 875th year of the New Order, which you know the year at the moment is 875NO, New Order not meaning the New World Order. It literally means the New Order of Time. In 875, 5th year of the New Order, a form of arcane technology will be developed, has been developed. And that form of technology will be able to pierce the veil, allowing certain entities a greater opportunity to enter this plane of existence against the original designs of the gods. It would be unavoidable. It's a fixed point in time and space. As a result, I had to manage what happened around that fixed point in time and space. As a result, I made sure that when the Institute was founded, I was the major shareholder. I would have settled for one of the major shareholders, but it turns out that Mr. Montessier was very happy to step back.
I know this is kind of mute.
When she mentions Mr. Montessier, you remember that the King of Thieves' name, back before Cassandra took over, was Credar Montessier.
What were you gonna say, Rodrigo?
I was gonna say the whole thing about the Institute. This is kind of pointless, but I do want to roll insight. Sorry.
Sure.
Well, I tried. That's gonna be 10.
10. It's hard to tell. The way that she's expressing herself seems like she's genuine.
Okay.
You don't see any signs of lies. And everything you
That
see
doesn't
points
necessarily
in the
mean I trust her, though.
No, oh god, no. You do not have to trust somebody based on a dice roll. You roll the dice, I give you the information, you make the character decision.
Yeah, thanks.
How?
So you
Okay.
Fascinating. That explains a lot of the finer details.
I'm good at the finer details in the moment. However, when it comes to the greater picture, which unfortunately I'm responsible for, it's very much like using a fan to change the wind. Sometimes you can make the windsock move.
You may have been born with those powers, but who gave you the responsibility then?
Unfortunately, when you're placed in this position, you can't help but be responsible. There was an old and very wise scholar that said that with great power comes great responsibility.
Of course, but
the scholar was known as
there are many who would use such a power for.
Well, technically, it was grandfather, B.
Yeah.
Parker.
Yeah, B. Parker,
right.
I suppose.
But it was P. Parker who made it quite famous.
He wrote the book.
Yeah. I think I have control of the carpet, at which point I'll think that having a conversation like 30
Excuse
feet
you, I'm pretty sure I was the one driving it.
You sure?
Well, anyone can take control over it, it doesn't matter.
I will turn this carpet back around.
I was more thinking that at least then can someone put it on the floor.
Yeah,
Dad, he's on my side of the carpet.
You know what? You know what? This is something I completely love. We just sealed a eldritch, like almost Lovecraftian being back into the abyss. We're having this serious talk with Renata about, all of this, and the first thing we're doing is arguing over
who's got the tassels.
Magic
I've got the control tassels. Those are the regular tassels. I've got the control tassels.
Be on the floor now. Anybody?
Yeah. Yes, I will pilot it down. I will pilot it down to the floor.
Oh, right.
And as we're doing that, I will also ask Renata, if you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
Eclipse, you don't ask a lady her age.
Well, this time we're doing it.
That would be such a convenient point of etiquette to call up right now, but let's just say I'm not entirely sure myself.
Were you alive before the new order?
For some of it, I suppose. I guess. I don't remember parts of my life, so I can only assume maybe I was there. I presume that the gods did not allow me to remember if I was there. And being that there are gaps in my memory, I assume that I didn't know.
So you're at least 875 years old.
Time is a bit of a different shape than it is for you. Yeah.
It's Jeremy, bury me.
oh God!
Whilst they're having this conversation, Simon, I'd like to walk over to Riz. I imagine she came down with us, and I motion if I could have a look at the child, and I just want to once over check the child. Sure.
Insight check.
Okie dokie. I mean, I have a passive of 19, if that helps.
It helps.
Insight check the baby.
Insight check the baby. It's demon.
Lying. It's not a baby at all.
The baby leaps for your throat.
alive.
Roll initiative. No. So what was the result, Nick?
Give him a moment. He's a bit of a robot right now.
Yeah, he's robotic.
Yeah.
Sorry. Hold on. Oh, KMS.
And you're back. Hello.
Yeah, sorry about that. That spiked up to 4,000 MS. What was that?
Yeah, that happens. That happens.
Sorry.
Pretty sure that's like every Friday for Rodrigo, so don't worry.
Pretty much.
Yeah. 20.
And he's gone again.
I heard 26.
I heard
26 as well.
Yeah.
Ah.
So the insight check is a good one, and yeah, when you ask for the baby, Renata looks slightly panicked to start with, and then kind of looks down as if, oh my God, I'm holding a baby, and then hands it over to you, almost like it's about to explode.
Thank you.
Play hot potato with a baby.
And I will go over, sort of take a few steps back from the group.
Mhm.
We'll just check the child, make sure it's...
Sure. Give me a medicine check.
That's crap for once. 12.
12. It's still enough to be able to detect for any injuries. Child doesn't seem to have much in the way of injuries. There's a tiny little bump on the side of the head, presumably where the parent went down. And other than that, you're holding in your arms a beautiful, healthy, young human girl.
Whoa.
It's our baby now. We're all parents now.
No.
We already have Jerome. This is our second child.
Bell's got the child.
This
And he's
is-
like, would you like to meet your Uncle Aiden? Would you like to meet your Uncle Aiden?
This is literally the worst idea we've ever had.
If Jerome gets jealous as well, he'll just eat the baby. So.
I was about to say it's the worst sibling rivalry at all. It's like, Mom, Jerome pretended to use my shoe again, and you can just see her hopping around and saying, on the foot.
Oh, I forgot you named the fucking mimic something.
Jerome.
Jerome.
Jerome. Child.
Don't forget our child, Farewell and Bare Bones.
Unfortunately, canon. I feel your pain, Nick. So yeah.
I hate everything about this. I hate it.
Either way, Farewell, hold your
Congratulations,
arm
it's a
up
money
a
box.
little bit more. You have the head too far down.
I know, but there's not actually a fucking baby in there.
I mean as Glory, because Glory actually knows how to take care of babies, because she's a lot older than her brother.
Yep.
Oh. And Farewell's, it's not the first baby I've held or delivered. I've done a couple in my...
Mm-hmm.
It's okay.
I think Farewell wins, Glory.
It's alright.
Farewell has delivered babies. He has helped with complications. He's had to heal the mother afterwards after complications because he lived in Freetown for a year, and believe me, you don't get an option to call the midwife. If you're a cleric or a passerby or anything like that, you are helping. So, yeah. Ironically, some of Freetown I actually modelled on the BBC series called The Midwife.
There we go.
Wow.
You can hold your fur baby and pretend it's a real baby.
I asked Renata, so what's gonna happen with the baby?
The baby will become, presuming that we can't find the remainder of the family. They were all local here, by the looks of it, or in the employ of those local, I assume, because you wouldn't bring your child to work, that the child is the offspring of a scholar or one of the more well-to-do people in the city. If they have family that we can trace, the child will be placed with the family. If not, the child will become a ward of Ostergard. And I shall personally see, being that I may not be responsible for what went on, but certainly...
You are very responsible for what?
One day
you're the most responsible.
That she will end up getting the best in education and the best start in... There was never going to be a version of events that didn't end in some death. Compared to all that I have seen, compared to all that I have been forced to see, this is the least amount of death that I could have managed.
And flooding the market with red residium, capturing demons and converting souls.
Oh, the red residuum is useless. No, the red residuum is beyond useless. It loses its charge within about a week.
That is fascinating because then it is basically counterfeiting. Huh?
No, because no, Glory.
People figure out Ostergold is selling fake residium.
No, Glory, they refined it, remember?
Yes, but if it loses its charge after it's been sold.
I think it's only the red when it's red. Am I correct, Renata? So once it's refined, it's refined.
In a way. It's very hard to use residuum at the best of times, as Glory will attest to. Enchantment is very difficult. You lose more enchantments than you keep. All it takes is an incantation done slightly awry, a ritual that, after repeating it for n number of days on n+1, you end up just making that one slight difference. The entire enchantment falls apart. It's why certain enchantments, certain items that are out there in the world are the life's work of some enchanters, not necessarily because it took their entire life to enchant it. They just failed so many times. It's why, as well, that certain enchantments are just so expensive compared to others that are fairly mundane. Ironically, you can fold space into a bag of holding very, very easily, but you try just taking something simple like a magically enhanced sword, and you try to take it beyond the second circle. It becomes incredibly difficult, and it falls apart. So, a lot of the residuum that left here will end up being in the hands of failed attempts anyway, and most of the times it will be blamed on the enchanter, and they will not be punished for it. The enchanter will just simply say that the enchantment didn't hold, and they'll get some more and carry on. Also, we did sell some legitimate residuum in amongst the stuff that we were making sure that we were producing. I was having it shipped in secret.
Okay, all this aside, what was the point of all of this? If we've just closed the rift, what's to stop him from trying again? He knows everything he was trying to learn. Why will he not just try again and break the rift?
He will. He will try.
So what was
He's
the
been
point
trying
of all
since
of
the-
this?
And why have I now got a
That's
giant
true.
bullseye painted on my fucking head?
Because it is fate.
Destiny.
Each of you is supposed to be dead right now. In thousands
Oh.
upon thousands of different timelines, the city falls. Freetown falls. You all fight valiantly, but you die. For some of you, your families die. Your friends die. Everything gone. But please bear in mind that you can't compare the results of today to a simple day in Ostergald where nothing happened. Sometimes that day is just not possible.
So what
I
now?
have gone through thousands of todays, thousands of yesterdays, thousands of last weeks, trying to find the right path. And in the end, inevitability, chaos happened. What we've managed to do here is give mortals on this plane of existence, first of all, awareness of the architect. He appears in no book, no law. No cleric anywhere in existence knows of the architect, and now, thanks to certain divination spells, they shall all be able to tap into the Acacia. The common knowledge. That which is known by one is known by all.
Legend,
We're
lore.
sending missives to seers all over Illyria now, in every country, whether friend or foe. We are telling them that this being exists and that he should be resisted at every turn, that he will not ally with anyone. He only wants to come in, rip apart what he seems to think of as a reality that is an insult to his intended work, and reset the entire world, the entire plane, all of the planes.
I can't believe you're
Ranting
this
is people.
naive that everybody will just turn their back on. There won't be those there that are strong enough or willing
with
to
Farewell.
just avoid this. You've not. Yeah, sure, you've gotten a few more aside, but now you've just given those that would do harm a very powerful weapon. You've added more death, more suffering, pain to the world than you can now. And all because you decided that this was the right flip of the coin. You don't get to that. Cora's right. What now? What now? Sure, we could all be dead. We could have lost this plane of existence. We could have won. We could have found another way through. Different, a better way. But you stopped that from happening because you chose, and you don't have the right to mess with our fate. To mess with my fate.
She starts walking towards you.
Don't. I will kill you. Touch me.
I don't need to touch you, farewell. And she looks at you, and her eyes just go from regular human eyes to endless abysses. Suddenly, all you can see in her eyes are stars. I would like you to make a wisdom saving throw with disadvantage.
Shit.
She's using the pen and stare on him very well.
Oh.
20.
20.
With the disadvantage, 20 is still a
I
good score.
rolled a 19 and 11, and I have a +9 to my wisdom save throw.
Yeah.
Oh,
So her save might be really high.
Yeah, we don't know what level wizard she is, so yeah, she could have a stupidly high saving throw.
So you save against the one effect, but you don't save from the other.
Oh, that's good.
You don't get paralyzed, you don't get stunned. Renata doesn't have to use Mage Hand to keep the baby aloft. you do still peer into those eyes, and you can't stop the images flashing before your eyes. You're standing in Ostergold, and you're watching. Who should we choose? I brought up my NPC generator just for this.
Nice.
Okay. You look down at the floor, and you recognize a figure that you're not exactly the most. They aren't the most beloved person amongst you, but you recognize Ola Soraka, the half-orc governor of a gold mine where Cora's father worked. And she's lying on the floor, dead, amongst broken buildings. Most of the buildings just trashed to the ground. And there are other people around you that you've seen them around the city. There's faces that you recognize. But they're all dead. And you just watch as Ola Soraka's eyes open up. And you can see that they have a very strange look to them. They are purple. There's a slit down the middle. And then 4 in a square around it, 4 dots, 4 irises. And as the eye opens, the slit opens, 4 circles open. And there's this and
Farewell speaks Abyssal.
Yeah,
if I remember correct.
Yeah, I do speak Abyssal. You're quite right, Glory. Well remembered.
Thank you for the reminder. I was about to ask you. But there's, but knowing it up front is good because you hear, "Behold the new masterpiece! All hail the master! All hail the creator!" And at that point, you just watch as blistering and bubbling and ripping a very quick mutation. We're talking less than around 3 seconds. As the flesh distends and rips and bubbles and mutates. And standing before you seems to be a more advanced version of the Inquisitor. What you know as the Inquisitor. The skin no longer grey, a kind of burgundy crossed with purple, with bright lilac purple, well, not lilac purple, like electric purple eye. It stands and it looks at you, almost like it's looking straight through you, and you can hear the ripping and thrashing of the other people in Ostergold around you, turning into these enhanced Inquisitors. They start to form ranks, very orderly. Ranks start to break into units, some 6 strong, some 20 strong, and they start to march over the rubble in very, very specific directions. And you know inherently that those directions are the nearby villages. Freetown has already fallen. You get an innate sense that this is one of the many alternate timelines that Renata Green saw. And as you kind of will yourself to fall away, this scene kind of jars. It kind of just starts to, I guess, splinter and echo, almost like your eyes are going out of focus and you see 2 images, but it goes 2 and then 16 and then 300 and then after that just so many. You realize that all you're seeing is death upon death upon death. She's actually shown you one of the better options, and then just with a lurch, not in your stomach as with a teleport, but in the back of your mind, you can feel your eye and your face twitching as you get pulled out of the vision and just standing there before her again.
How long did that take, and did he react?
He twitched for about 2 seconds.
I cast Firebolt at her
You okay, Farewell?
in that time.
Okay. The Firebolt gets about 3 feet away from her, and it just dissipates.
Sure, and I shout, "We are not your puppets!" Like, if you know all of this and all the future, like, we're not here just to be manipulated and you can change our memories and make us do things. Talk to us, explain things. Like, this is just crazy.
Cora, I think that what she was doing to Farewell was explaining.
No.
Remember,
She wasn't explaining.
She was
wasn't
threatening.
explaining at all. She was showing one possible outcome out of 1,000 by your own admission. That is what you showed me. It doesn't matter if that was the outcome that we avoided and that this was maybe the only way. That doesn't give you the right to.
Does it not, Farewell?
No.
Does it not?
No, it doesn't.
If this is the timeline where we all survived and the entire city survived.
But who else survived? And Cora's gonna jump off the carpet and go running towards the door. She's gonna leave. She's leaving
As
this
you run
chamber.
towards the door, you notice that the floor I told you before is in flux. One of the flagstones. That's it. Flagstones on the floor is cracked,
flux,
and then it fluctuates slightly, and it goes zoop, back into place. And as you're running towards it, you can see that your own personal timeline is finding out where the present is, and it's kind of pushing at that last bit. And as you run past a certain section, a bare piece of the steps suddenly just kind of shimmers and sat there, head in his hands, rubbing his hands like his fingers up his scalp, because guy's bald, with sweat dripping off his brow, down his nose, to the point where there's a droplet just dropping off his nose, and he's just huffing and kind of just staring at the floor, is Beat Bubba Doom.
I jump at him
as you pass
hug
him.
No, I don't pass him. I hug him as I go.
Well, as you were going to pass him, he just snaps into existence.
Oh, right.
And then when you leap on him, he actually... I'm not going to do it because I probably couldn't, and it'll mess up my throat. But he gives like a Homer shriek because you came out of literally nowhere. You came out of another place in time, and just appeared and jumped at him. So it's like this little rabid halfling just jumping at him, and
God.
You leap on him. He screams, and then when he has a moment of kind of gimlet-eyed. Again, the sweat is his shirt is soaked. He takes a moment just kind of looking at you. He recognizes you clearly, but there's this whole kind of looking at you, wanting to kind of assess you to see if you're the real deal. And then when he realizes it's you, he just throws these 2 huge Goliath arms around you.
I'm just like dangling off his neck, basically.
Yeah, he's kind of he's almost bear hugging you and kind of forgetting how small you are. And yeah, it's a little uncomfortable actually.
I don't
but he's holding on to you with it's clear that he's doing it with
and I exist.
Heartfelt passion. Yeah. And once he finishes with that, he kind of lets go a bit, realizes you're dropping because you're now like 4 foot off the ground, because he's a Goliath after all, and you're at shoulder height now. And he stood up obviously with you. And then as you're dropping, he kind of grabs you under your shoulders, picks you up, and just kind of kisses you on top of the head, and then kind of crushes you a little for a quick second more, and goes, where? And as you can see, he's looking into the middle distance at what you can't see this, but he I'll tell you as a player, he just sees this heat shimmer as the rest of the building starts to come back into sync, and he sees the rest of the people there. He goes, but what?
It's too hard to explain.
I want to turn around to Farewell and say, are you saying if you had the option to prevent complete genocide, that you would not do everything you could to stop it?
That's not what I was saying at all. I would absolutely do everything to save. but I wouldn't abuse those and manipulate those and harm those that I would then rely upon to do this work.
Rodrigo.
So this is after Cora runs out. I wanna, because I gonna sheath my saber because I had it out the entire time.
Yep.
I'm gonna I walk towards Renata and I say, I understand where you're coming from, and I'm kind of glad we're not living in an architect-controlled world. But you still had to cause a lot of death and suffering for us to get here. Let's just hope you can live with that. And I just start walking away. And I leave. I go where Cora left.
Okay. She, as you're walking there, you can see that Cora. Actually, it's quite weird because Cora walks off. She kind of blurs slightly, then she flies up in the air and kind of wobbles there for a second, and then as you get closer, Beeper kind of forms around her.
Oh, that's weird.
And he's there just kind of holding her and talking to her, whilst kind of cradling her in his arms, because there's a good 5-foot difference between you and Beeper, I think.
Probably. I'm 3'1" or 3 foot, something like that. 3'1".
Yeah, he's about 9 foot. So yeah, well, no, actually, no. In that case, it's 3'1". He's about 8 foot. Sorry. So yeah, there's quite a difference.
Bye.
And one thing that you would notice, Rodrigo, is when you spoke to Renata, she was nodding, just kind of listening, nodding, paying attention to you. Doesn't say a second word, just listens. If you want to do an insight check, I will let you do one. It's not high DC, but it's kind of cool if you get it.
Yeah. I still want to try.
Nat 20.
Go on, Rodrigo.
Ooh, 26.
26!
Oh!
Yeah, you get it. In that case, absolutely. Not even... that's getting it with clarity. It was a DC 20, but you got it +5, and that's an extra success tier. So you get it with clarity. When she's listening to you, she's remembering. So she's like, oh, it's this bit. And as you're talking, she's just nodding because she has literally heard it before.
We need some time. We need some time.
Yeah.
I think
I thought I was going to say something else.
Sorry, mate. Apologies.
No, it's okay. I just leave. Sorry. I thought I was going to say something else, but it didn't.
Yeah.
As I'm following Aiden out, I will see Beeper, and seeing how exhausted he looks, I will put my hand on his shoulder and go, I think you need a bit of me up, my friend. After all, you're the hero who saved Ostergold, and I will cast Greater Restoration on him.
Okay. You can see that you've got rid of a point of exhaustion, basically. And you can see him kind of visibly straighten up, the posture changes, and he just looks you in the eye, gives you a wink and said, no, my friend, all I did was make it fun.
That counts for a lot.
I think I'm beginning to understand why Cora likes you so much.
I just bring a little bit of my personal style to the party. That's all.
Right, come on, you little one. We need to get you fed.
I turned
changed.
Yes, I turned to.
Beeper kind of does a double take, thinking that you're talking to Cora, and goes, "Oh, what a beautiful baby!"
Oh, I totally thought the same. I was like looking up at him and then realised it's the baby. I'm like,
I've got hold of baby.
Bobby.
Yeah. I mean, you might be changing
Surprise
him on, but that's
parents.
more information than I needed to know.
This kid has now 5 parents. 5 very unsuitable parents.
by
quite
very
incredibly
weird
observant
parents.
I will turn to Renata and say, as you know, Renata, I went into your mind, and from what I saw, you have truly done the best that you can, but I think Farewell is right in saying that you should have trusted more and told more than you did. People don't normally enjoy being manipulated and played with like on a chessboard. They prefer knowing what's going on. I understand you can't really tell people about your chronomancy because that would just get you killed, but you could have framed it as a divination thing. But yes, thank you for what you did, but please next time put people more in the loop. And
Next time the architect comes up, please let us know.
She, knowing that you're being respectful in that, when she waits for you to finish, again, there seems to be this kind of nodding along, almost in rhythm, as she listens, and she goes, "Thank you for your feedback."
You already had the feedback, but you can have it again.
This is like
3 out of 5 stars.
This is like the worst job interview ever. Yeah, I rate you 2 stars on Wizard Uber.
And I will go join, and I will also go and hug Bidba a lot.
Okay. Glory's the last person to leave.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And before you do leave, presumably
I'm waiting,
telling the carpet to go with, Renata does walk up to you, and all she says, she mutters it very quietly, only you can hear. And she says, "The price of power."
Indeed. But you already know what I wanted to say.
Indeed. And you're intelligent enough to know why you're here.
The others don't understand how the game works. It's fine.
Did she just call us dumbasses?
Essentially.
I find the word game slightly distasteful, but I agree with the sentiment.
Well, I suppose it can be.
I trust that you can guide them. Advise.
We'll
At the
see.
least.
At any rate, it'll be fun to see where this goes. Just remember, touch my mind again, and the entirety of the Tezcatlipoca will be against you. We don't take that lightly.
Ouch.
I appreciate your candor. However, that will not be necessary anymore. You are now party to information that no one else in Illyria knows. And the new set of dominoes starts. You can see that as she says that, her eyes go off into the middle distance, and there's a slight glimmer in her eyes. Not the whole eyes transforming as with Farewell, but just in the irises of her eyes, you almost feel like you can see stars.
Let's see what the future brings, shall we?
Indeed. She waves her hand, and all the crates with the green organization on them disappear. She gives you a scholarly nod, like a nod between scholars, steps back and disappears.
I will drive the carpet out to where the others are waiting, like, farewell, you know I can't carry this on my own. Excuse you!
I jump back on the
Carrying
carpet.
a baby!
Now Now let's
will
go
take the
and
baby
find Noki
very
because
eagerly.
we have a party to start.
There's a very confused Water Genasi right now that doesn't understand why. Again, he's in trouble.
It's like, so I'm marked for death by an interplanar, very powerful being. The city's been trashed by demons, but
And
we
all my
managed to
friends
defeat
can
it
think
with
of-
the power of dance, and I'm holding the baby.
Yeah, and all my friends can think of is, why aren't I carrying the really heavy carpet?
Or getting on it because we have a party to start and I need to find Noki.
Yeah, I'm jumping on it and pulling Bebop onto it. Or trying,
Yeah,
because
I'll
obviously
go-
I can't physically pull it, but...
I will get
Eclipse-
onto the carpet as well.
Eclipse will very eagerly ask if she can hold the baby.
I will very gently.
That seems
pass
like
the
a
baby
bad
over
idea.
to-
Broody cat.
I'm going to the pub.
Roderick, Aiden, get on the fucking carpet. You know what
Okay.
will happen if you don't get on the carpet. Get on the.
Okay.
Also,
Okay,
we're going
get
to
on the
where there's
carpet.
whiskey.
Sure.
I'm
From
not
the
gonna be drinking
outside-
whiskey.
From the outside, the people of Ostergald are finishing off the remnants of the demons within the city. And you look from the outside as the pair of double doors to the observatory burst open, and this flying carpet just whooshes out with a woo from Beeper as he starts screaming down with delight at the people below. And he goes, "There, my people! Hello! Don't forget the gig on Thursday!"
That's our beatpa.
Cora is going to if we spot people with a demon, I'm gonna try and signal to head that way, and I'm gonna ask them to stand back, and I'm going to throw my dust of sleep at one of the demons.
Ooh.
Sure.
Yes.
The thing
'cause
I
you
was
need
given
to capture
by-
one.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, because if it just lies on the street asleep, so people need to, like, leave it somehow. Put a sign on it, go, "Do not disturb." But,
So, just remind everybody the dust.
so
origin of
I
the
was
dust.
given a pouch of dust that is a sleep dust, I think, or some sort of sleep spell, by the general in the Feywilds, and she wanted me to put a demon to sleep, because demons do not dream, and she wanted to send them to the Feywilds and see what happened. So I was tasked with that.
Okay, yeah.
Ooh.
Yep.
Can we look out for a demon then?
I
Are there
much prefer
any
it when
left?
the player does plot exposition rather than me all the time. Thank you, that was perfect. Yeah, you see. Well, I'm going to give you the choice. Would you like to get a shoveler, an inquisitor, or a Geminax?
Ooh.
Or
No,
Inquisitor.
it's gonna wreak havoc.
Inquisitor are the bastards who, like, figure things out. They would be the most interesting.
Yeah.
So definitely an Inquisitor.
Sure.
Yes. And I would
So,
probably look for some, like, you know, if there's a jail or something where they managed to push, you know, if there was somewhere where they'd almost captured one but they hadn't, you know what I mean, like that, a place where then you could literally just shut, okay, or maybe move them into a jail and shut it somewhere to
okay.
like.
In a moment of inspiration, you dive down to what you can see is a fracas with a familiar-looking silhouette. And as you get closer, you can hear, "No one lops like Gaston. No one chops like Gaston." And then there's this hobgoblin next to him going, "Oh, pack it in, will you?" And she punches him in the face and then nuts the Inquisitor back. And he goes, "Has it lost a tooth?" And then they both nod at each other and they go up, and she smacks the Inquisitor in the head, and this cleaver comes up and chops the thing in the neck. As they do that, and they end up tearing the head off one Inquisitor, a second one leaps at them, and you think this is the perfect moment.
Go on.
I will shout at everyone to stand back, and make sure they do. I don't know if we can wake things. I don't know how this works, so I'm making sure everyone's out the way. And then I actually, to be honest, we're on the carpet. I'm just gonna try and encourage us to just hover over it, so I can just almost drop the bag so that it goes.
Yeah, you're dropping it on the head. Yeah.
Yeah, so it goes dust all down the.
Oh yeah,
weren't
you asked to find a cat again as well?
Oh, that's a whole other thing at some point. Yeah.
It's a completely different side mission.
Side quest.
You throw the dust down from on top, and the Inquisitor doesn't seem to have noticed that you're there. Beatba's still there. He's leaning over the carpet. His head is, kind of leaning right over the thing.
Just shout, "Sweet dreams!" But with an accent. It wasn't that.
You throw the dust down. It hits the Inquisitor. And at that point, you can see as Gaston shoulder barges Beryl Boggs out of the way. She drops on the floor, and this Inquisitor hits the dirt, kind of shaking its head and kind of swatting at its face, almost as if there's flies. And you can see it just suddenly go lull, lull. And as it's about to drop, two beautiful elven figures, bedecked in a very familiar armor, step out from behind it. Face stepping, you've seen before. From behind it, and with kind of almost like a Navy SEALs type precision, one of them puts it into a headlock, and the other one grabs hold of the head, stares at it, and goes. And it goes completely limp. They pick up the legs. They nod curtly to the very confused bugbear and the gnome, and it was a deep gnome. Then one of them looks up. He's got sandy-colored hair, kind of a bronze complexion, bright green eyes, but weirdly orange lips. And he looks up at you and he goes, salutes, and then they take one step to the left, and they are gone with the demon.
Mission accomplished. I still have another. I have another one of these pouches.
To show up next time.
I'll do my. No, probably not. No, I'll try.
Beatba's looking at you with a sense of wonder, and he's like, "What the hell was that?"
I have friends in, well, I would say high places, but I'm not sure where it is, to be honest. But in places.
I think it's connected to Sylvania, I think. So it should be south.
Well, planar-wise,
but planar-wise, it's weird.
No, so planar-wise, from planar knowledge, the Feywild is positioned over, just over the prime material, while Shadowfell is just under the prime material.
So phrasing high places works. Okay.
So everyone just looks at Eclipse like,
what?
So you know all this but can't shut up about a lion?
Simon, please give Nick inspiration.
Take inspiration. I love it. I love it.
I was gonna say, that was not Eclipse, that was Corinne.
Yeah.
That was Eclipse, that was Corinne.
We know, but that's half the fun.
That's half the fun.
The thing is, you didn't clarify, so we think Eclipse just randomly said, "Oh yes, the Feywild is."
I'm gonna say it right now. It's completely canon that was what Eclipse said. So all of us were like,
"What?
What?"
Well, Eclipse would maybe have seen that there's a giant mosaic in the Law Halls, which is also the temple to Arathis, where it does actually have the diagram of the planes, very much akin to if you go into, I think it's Masonic Hall, London.
I know that.
You'll get the firmament kind of tree of life kind of thing. You just spout this it'd be cosmetology, and they're like, seriously, you know all this and you're still obsessed about that friggin' lion? But yep, there we go.
I have a feeling that I missed this, didn't I? About why you have how, where they're from. What's
Me?
going-
Who?
Yeah, you.
Yes, you.
Do you remember?
Why?
Do you remember when we were, we got to the land of the dragons and you pissed off? Well, that was that night. Do you remember? I was annoyed at you because you weren't there when things happened.
Yeah.
If you'd been there, I might have told you about them.
Remember, Farewell, we told you you shouldn't have left us alone, but here we are.
Where's my bear? I am looking around for my bear.
Sure, you double back, and sure enough, there's a dutiful-looking bear sat on its haunches, being fed fruit and meat and a pasty. One kid is trying to feed to the bear, and the bear's just there going.
Yeah.
I need to name him, but bear. And I'm gonna jump on the bear, and I'm gonna ride the bear, following the carpet.
And yeah, this bear just lopes towards you, obeying your every command because
that's what he's there for.
It's auto charmed.
Just a cute bear.
It gives a bit of a belch, and you can smell like definitely the brand of pastry they've been feeding. It's kind of got a bit of a Summer Island spice from it all, and you can see it's kind of on a bit of a sugar high at the moment.
Can we get back to the hawking harness?
Oh yes, where is Noki? He was blowing up people with spices earlier.
So yep, you head back to the hawk and harness and leave most of the chaos behind. I don't know. I guess this would be it'll be an investigation check because you can see it. Let's see if you understand it. Investigation check, please.
From everyone or certain people?
Anybody who, being honest as players, who isn't distracted by something else. So whoever has the baby doesn't get to roll.
Corinne.
So we're and
I have a plus
is this distract like we're coming up to the hawk and harness and we're seeing something potentially there?
You're seeing everything because you just flew, and then you got
natural one.
Yes.
Corinne, would you like to hand the baby back to Farewell?
I'm thinking.
Sure.
I mean, yeah, I can hand it over to Farewell and roll if Farewell wants. Yeah.
Go on then. You can roll.
Did you say investigation?
I rolled.
Investigation, yes.
I rolled a 6, but I got plus 12, so it's 18.
Wow.
Oh my god.
Of course,
Rogues.
I got 21.
Okay. So Eclipse and Cora, and what did you get, Glory?
15.
15. Okay. Eclipse and Glory. Eclipse and Farewell. I'll get it in a minute. Eclipse and Cora. It's been one of those weeks.
You got there eventually.
It's really been one of those weeks.
It's like a mum going through the names of all their kids before they get to the right one.
Yep. Only kidding. I am George. But yeah, the something that Eclipse and Cora notices as Cora's going through the streets on her bear, and Eclipse is kind of on the carpet with Beatba, by the way, who hasn't got off the carpet yet. He's kind of like, I'm here as long as I'm welcome because this is great. He's never been on a flying carpet before. And once you get there, you realize something. Throughout the entire journey, you haven't seen a single dead body other than demon bodies for the whole procession.
I turn to Beatba and say, Did you notice anyone going down or any casualties during the march? Because I can't see any bodies.
Yeah, Eclipse. I mean, plenty went down.
Because I see no bodies.
I don't know what to tell you, kitty cat. I guess they took them off to maybe see if they would come back. I should imagine the city's trying to save as many souls as they can.
Right.
Well, that or the shovelers got to them. There's
they
always the
Glory.
possibility.
Beeper looks like he's about to be sick.
Well, I'm just
Glory.
saying, we
Honestly,
saw
the
them
fella
eating
just
the
goes
bodies
out.
when we entered the city.
Yeah,
Glory,
because
can
it's
you
a
say-
magical
place.
Yeah,
Glory,
she's
you,
right,
you
though.
say yes, but you say I'm not tactful.
Yeah.
If we're close, if they're low down and I'm just going next to them so I can hear all this.
This conversation you would have had when you got to the Hawk and Harness. You're just outside, so
Okay.
Either
This
way,
only occurred
I
to-
have
All
a
the-
party to plan.
Yeah, but are those people? Have they been wiped from existence? All the people in that room disappeared. She said they couldn't be
Yes.
there anymore. So did they never exist?
Ooh.
I do believe that's her
The
explanation.
people who died.
Either way,
I don't know. They would.
party.
Glory, they would still exist because we still have the baby. If they didn't exist in the first place, we wouldn't have the baby.
What? What?
Don't worry about Beatba.
You're
that-
confusing him. Let's talk about it after we've got some sleep.
I'm just gonna be
First,
writing about the
alcohol.
victory here. You know, I'm just. This is the good out of the bad. You know, I mean, I thought we were all gone. Oh. Hell, I gotta go check on some folk. I'll check back with you all later. Yeah. And you watch as the adrenaline comes down and him just doing what he needed to do in the moment, and suddenly he realizes the people in the city that he cares about, and at that point he vaults off the carpet, which is only about a couple of foot off the floor at this point, peanuts for him, and he leaps to his feet and goes, but hey, I want the full story later, yeah? There's gonna be a song! And he charges down the street.
There are so many unanswered questions here.
Yes, there are.
Does the
Oh,
Hawk and
we can
Harness look
ask
the
them.
same? Is there still a green symbol?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a green symbol. The Hawk and Harness looks fairly unscathed. In fact, in the time it takes you to have this conversation, you watch as Madeleine, says calling up a spreadsheet,
Ah, yes, indeed, me.
comes out of the Hawk and Harness and pours blood-colored water down into the sewer and goes, "Oh, welcome back. You're here then.
Yeah, we
Seemed
are.
to turn out good, didn't it?"
Would
say
you mind
that.
telling Noki that we should probably set up a party for tonight?
Of course, Mum. And she kind of nods, and a lot of kind of calm airs and graces. I'm not going to get you to roll insight. Her hands are shaking like fuck. And she seems to have just gone into her regular routine as a way of coping with it. And you watch as she picks up a few things, puts them in the bucket, and walks inside.
I know you don't like my idea, Eclipse, but I do believe the people need something to make them happy right now, despite the
Oh,
losses.
I didn't say that we shouldn't have a party.
No, that's right. She didn't actually. Eclipse, would you mind holding the little one for me a moment?
Here, I
Yes,
can take
I'll
Fucking
I'll
babies being passed around like so much.
Let's
till we
give
get
it
to
to
combat.
Aiden. Let's give it to Aiden and make
No,
him hold
no,
it.
no. I can't. I will
Roll
not.
initiative. Who gets the
hold
baby?
All
Aiden.
I will say, Aiden, is that they are remarkably resilient and they bounce. Don't worry.
They bounce.
I don't believe you.
No, well,
we make
actually,
Aiden
everything I just
hold
said is true. They do bounce.
Alignment
I don't
changes.
believe you. I'm not even gonna roll for insight. I'm just gonna decide not to believe you.
so
True,
so
you
we
found
make
that
Aiden hold a baby.
No, I'm heading towards my room anyway.
If Merrick was here, he would actually prestidigitate a copy of the baby made of rubber and bounce it on the floor as a
It's like a fucking basketball.
as a basketball pass. I go, yeah, it's easy. Look, boing,
Boing.
just a freak Aiden out. But thankfully, the little shit is not here. Shouldn't call him that. He's kind of me. But anyway,
Still,
who's first through the door?
I'm
Aiden,
gonna
I
say
guess.
me.
Okay.
I was gonna say Glory. Absolutely Glory.
All right, Glory.
Okay. So
I am trying to set up
at least
a
we're
party.
kind of going in at the same time. As Glory and Aiden walk in, they can see Noki very passionately snogging a half-elven woman with sandy-colored hair, bright pale skin, and they are going at it. They're in one of the chairs by the fire, and they are inflagrating.
Oh.
Well done.
Very quickly, Glory, roll me a charisma with proficiency. This is your society roll.
Yes. 20.
Society.
Dirty 20.
Okay, Dirty 20. Yeah, you know this person. She is Eluned Carissa. She is the head of the Magi Domestica.
Oof.
And she, you recognize her mostly because of the vine tattoos going up her leg, and the one leg that you can kind of see closest to you, it has this beautiful winding vine tattoo, which is elven in nature, and even though you can't see the face because hair's covering most of the snogging. They're just there in the corner. You have a feeling this may be a "oh my god, we almost died" moment between the two of them. Okay.
Well done.
And I presume that, and you can see that Madeline has just carried on with her regular duties. There's no way she's breaking this up. I'm assuming that Aiden's going up to his room?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Glory, what are you doing?
Ooh, what am I doing? I need to freshen up, so I'm gonna head upstairs too. Leave Noki to snog for a while before I interrupt him. I mean, go dude.
Yep.
How are you gonna send out invites for this party? It's my own.
Fireworks.
Via fantasy Twitter.
No.
Fancy
I
Facebook.
literally have a necklace that can make firework.
Fantasy Twitter is just writing a bunch of messages and like attaching it to random birds and just sending them out.
Fly, little invites, fly! Make me popular!
There's this one guy actually called Twitter, and he's just got an aviary full of messenger pigeons.
I keep confusing them with the rare bird, with the wild birds. We need to do something. I know we're going to colour all our birds blue. Prestidigitation.
He spent a lot of money having somebody, because that's branding. You know what I mean? He's all about branding. You know, and he just has all these little tiny pigeons prestidigitated blue.
Oh yes, darling, the blue is very in this season. Yeah. All the birdies must be blue.
And he insists that the messages are no more than 120 characters because his birds can't carry any more than that. It's sole reason.
Yeah, he upgraded from finches to pigeons recently, so you do get more than you used to get. But So Longest polymorph ever. But the... Oh, dear.
Anyways.
So...
I will want to grab Cora for a moment, but I'm quite happy to let everybody do all of their things first. So you get cracking, guys.
Nah, I'm setting up so you guys can do stuff too before we have our evening party with drinks.
I'm okay doing my thing last, so if anyone wants to go ahead and do their thing right now, go ahead.
Sure.
Eclipse?
I am taking care of baby, so the Eclipse is now a kitty mother.
Baby. This is a weird episode of The
baby.
Mandalorian.
Yes.
To be fair, she is a bounty hunter.
She
Yes.
is.
Yes,
She has adopted a baby.
She is
I
a
just
bounty
don't know
hunter.
where I just don't know where these other 4 randos came from.
Okay, yeah. So you go behind the bar, and I can't believe you're focusing this much on the baby. Renata was supposed to walk away with it, but you were like, "No, Marg."
I'm not letting the
Child now,
power-hungry
Simon.
baby
It's our
with the
child now.
interplanar
Yes.
child.
You give the baby. You go behind the bar where you know there's milk. You're just setting up some milk with your complete lack of knowledge of parenting. At which point, Madeline comes out and goes, "No, wrong milk," and she goes, "I'll get a wet nurse. One second. Don't feed the baby anything, okay?"
Part of me really wants to be a dick and stick my head in the thing and go, "It's Aiden's!" and then close the door.
Yes, Aiden and Eclipse had a baby. Next
Oh,
is
shut
the Benefactor.
It's human. No, it's a Sphinx cat. It's a Sphinx cat.
Oh God!
Oh, that poor baby.
I can't believe the entire campaign has been derailed by this fucking baby.
You think it's the
Well.
right thing to do? Just put in a little bit of innocence amongst the slaughter. It's a good, it's a good drama driver. But no, they end up focusing on the baby.
Know.
So
Simon,
you never know what NPC we're gonna latch onto.
Simon, you're totally right, but this is D&D, where like no matter how smart the players are, all the characters are dumbasses.
So
even if you have a +5 in intelligence.
I'm going to say that as Madeline kind of exclaims that and says, "Look, I'll get a wet nurse," and she runs out. The half elf that's kissing Noki, even she can't ignore that, and she goes, "What?" and looks around.
Just standing there, Eclipse holding this random human baby, going, "Hello."
It's my baby now.
No, Noki. Was it? And she kind of stops. She's flustered, and only Glory would know this because only Glory's spoken to Eleanor before. She suffers from a terrible stutter, and she takes a moment and kind of composes herself and says, "Where are the parents?"
Good question.
No longer.
Actually, I'm not there. Never mind.
Yeah. No longer with us.
Oh. And you can kind of see, for all the relief, you watch as this moment of heightened, she got to be a hero today, as did all of her Magi Domestica. She's seeing kind of the carnage, and that's catching up with her, and you watch her visibly deflate, and she goes, "Well, where were you going to get her a family?"
Well, Miss Green said she would see if she could find the closest relatives to this
she
child.
sneers at the sound of Renata Green and goes,
I like her already.
Same.
"I guess I can't disagree with that sentiment."
I mean, we'll. Otherwise, we would try to look after her, but I don't think 5 adventurers are very good parents for a baby.
She reaches out and goes, I may be able to help. Puts her hand very gently on the baby's brow and whispers some arcane words. If you want, you can do an Arcana check.
Go on, Eclipse. Big roll.
Natural 20.
It's not a
Do
natural
the
20.
rogue thing and have a plus ridiculousness in Arcana.
Sadly, I don't.
Oh,
I'm
Why?
surprised.
Mostly she's got double proficiency in investigation and thieves' tools and stuff.
When you mean double proficiency, you mean like expertise, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's a 14.
Okay. You get certain tones, certain words you pick out of it. Some kind of divination spell, some sort of scrying. And yeah, she suddenly goes, "Oh, no, sorry, I can't. I thought I could get her name. Uh, I know she doesn't understand words at the moment, but she could have been spoken to. They could have mentioned her name."
Oh, were you trying to look into her mind to see if she knew her name?
No. No.
It's nothing wrong with that if you need to find her name.
Rip.
Oh dear.
Rip.
Rip, Simon.
It's a baby, can't know much. Like, being able to read the thoughts of your baby would be so useful, though. Like, oh, is my baby hungry? What's wrong with my baby? Because my baby can't communicate. Oh, I can read his thoughts. I know what's wrong now.
I feel like using that kind of magic continuously on a baby will probably do it. Like, will fuck it up in some way.
Oh god, yes. Some way.
Maybe it would. Well,
Yeah,
it would be good to know if a baby is hungry or if its stomach is hurting or whatever is happening.
Yeah. I mean, I would much rather parents pay attention. So
Yeah.
Oh,
They have different
Yeah.
cries. They cry differently depending on what they want.
Oh God, yeah.
Indeed they do.
Yeah.
Indeed they do.
The hurt cry puts adrenaline through you like you would not believe. The first time I heard one of my children do a hurt cry, and it's kind of like a little cry scream, I couldn't sleep for hours afterwards. It was like someone injected coffee into my soul. It was terrible. Anyway,
Back to D&D.
back to D&D.
And this is the disaster we are walking into.
This is a no-name spell. You can look at someone and get what they believe is their name.
Fantasy Google.
She may not have been called her name very much. It's difficult.
Yes. But yeah, we'll try to. Renata is trying her best to find the relatives to her. I'd rather not she be placed within an orphanage. I would rather she either be placed within her relatives or some kind of adoptive family.
I trust you. And you can tell she's a little flustered. She's kind of upset because there's an orphan that she's seeing now in front of her. And so you can notice the stuttering gets worse and worse. I used to have a stutter when I was younger, so I'm trying to remember as much as possible what that was like. And she says, I trust that you will do the right thing. We owe you a great debt. Thank you.
Is Farrell still here? Because I will turn to him.
Farrell stood outside with Cora. They haven't actually come in the bar yet.
Yeah.
So they are stood outside whilst this all happens.
Eclipse has a thought, and she sticks her head out to Farewell and goes, Farewell, if we can't find a family for her closest family. Does the Raven Queen Temple take in people?
Yes, of course. All the time.
Yep.
We would look at him. And if his path her path, didn't lie with us, then when she was of age, go about on her way. Yeah, we'd look.
Right. Oh yeah. But yeah, because I think that would be a quite a suitable one if.
No, I that's a really good idea.
Okay,
Go on.
No, I was saying continue talking because I was going to just say what I did after you finished talking.
No, that was it. You go on.
I was like, okay, sorry to disturb you because I know you guys are talking, and I'll go back in and keep taking care of the baby with Noki and the other lady whose name I forgot.
Eluned.
Probably changed her diapers of the baby. And
does Eclipse know how to change a diaper? Is the question.
I have younger I have younger siblings, and I would say that they are very communal the way they live.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, the Tabaxi Naru are very much a community-led tribe, and very fixed in culture and community roles. So I'd say that's fair.
Yeah, so I would help out with babies and change the diapers and stuff. Though I forgot that non-tabaxis cannot drink milk
as it is.
Yep. So Elunid does help you change the diaper, mostly by just taking it, flicking her hands over it, and then handing it back to you perfectly clean, and then helps you fasten it back together again. Magi Domestica, no one cleans like a Magi Domestica. And
God bless Prestidigitation. What a wonderful spell.
They have it to the nth degree. They have things like Dylan's Greater Cleaning and things, so it's they have some spells which are pretty much useless in combat, or for any adventurer, but it gets them a really decent wage. And about 20 minutes later, a very shell-shocked wet nurse comes in, and let's check, because a tiefling wet nurse comes in, not going too much into the biology of Hilaria, and she takes the baby and says, "Oh, okay. Do you have a room?" And Madeline takes her upstairs to one of the spare rooms. So you're there behind the bar, and I'm going to cut to Cora and Phil. You're necking the good stuff, the gold top. Yeah.
Before we cut to us, is it a good time for a break and then come back?
Oh, yes. It's 9:30, so let's have a quick break, and we will see you all in 10 minutes' time.
Okay. We're back.
Welcome back, everybody. And when we left off,
smooth.
we were crossing over to Kate and Nick as Aiden and Cora, not Aiden and Cora, Farewell and Cora, I'll get there in a minute, are outside the Hawk and Harness Tavern, their home away from home. And they are currently discussing and debriefing from the day's events.
Actually, Simon, Aiden went to his room in the Hawk and Harness. First thing he did when he got there.
Yep, I'll cross over to you in a bit. If there's nothing specific you're going to do, then things will be turning up. Don't you worry.
Oh dear.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry.
What are you sorry for?
I missed it. I missed Ola, and I missed all the other stuff. Kind of not sad that I missed Eclipse getting arrested. That would have been really weird.
It was pretty weird.
But I am, yeah. But I am sorry I missed you finding out that you found it.
It's okay. I'm not. I can't expect you to be there all the time. It was just strange because you mostly have, and then you weren't, and we were in a new place, but it's okay. You're not you don't belong to me. You can do your own thing. I just wanted to share it with you, that's all. And I have.
Yeah. And this was a lot less awkward in my head, you know?
It usually is.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fair. Do you want to go do something really stupid?
Oh, maybe. I was going to do something actually relatively sensible. What were you planning to do? Well, I don't know about sensible. I don't feel I can start partying until I know the state of everything. Things change. We have no idea who survived, who didn't. There's no bodies in the street. I want to know.
And I think what my stupidity and your sensibleness are, they're crossing.
Okay.
And
Wait, are you being the stupid one and I'm being the sensible one?
I imagine that. Yeah. I'm really easy to distract at the moment as well. Yeah. I have terrible nightmares all the time, to be completely.
I did see your drawings once.
Yeah, and it happened ever since I did that. You remember the scrying machine in the university?
Yes.
I want to go and use it again. Now is going to be the best time. Everybody's distracted.
Okay.
And, there. I got offered by Glory's aunt to use their version, but they wanted to share everything they saw. I need to use it again, but I don't want to share it with evil dragon people.
Right. Okay. Fine. I was actually thinking along a similar lines because I know kind of how to do it, but that doesn't help you very much.
Yeah, I won't lie. I kind of know how to do it as well.
But
I
it's different.
Well, it's technically is scrying, but I don't have the components, so to speak, today.
There's components. I should look that up. I literally got it today as well. Okay. Yes. Fine.
And if I'm honest, I don't know how many more opportunities you get to do stupid things.
Well, yeah. Well, the ones we're in control of, if we are at all. Okay. Fine. I'm going to. If we still are connected, I'm gonna kind of message Eclipse via our connection and just say Farewell and I are gonna go and do a scout of the city and check on people and see how, if anyone needs help and stuff, and we'll be back for the party later. Basically, is kind of what I'm gonna say. I could, in theory, use the green organization thing, but I
or
don't.
stick your head through the door, being that you're round about 20 foot away from each other.
We're sitting on the carpet.
Dungeons & Dragons.
We're sitting on the fucking carpet, like talking, and
Actually,
like, why would I get off?
Other,
why would I get off the carpet and walk when I can do this with my mind?
You've got a psychic link. Use it.
Yeah,
use it.
So, until it disappears.
Yeah. I want to use the most convoluted and difficult way to do anything.
When you access your psychic link, just for the fun of it, because Eclipse is currently necking some really good milk, you kind of get this interference going. It's kind of weird vibrating sound in my ear, and you realise it's purring.
I don't taste it or something weird. Okay, I just
No, you just detect the purring.
Okay. Well,
okay.
Eclipse is doing okay. I just
yes. don't be late for the party, because it's in that case, Glory's gonna actually kill you guys.
Well, the day can't get much worse. All right. Get alcohol. Okay. Now I tell Farewell that I've just sent that link, and explained where we've gone, and okay.
Sorry, I'm laughing because you said get alcohol, and Eclipse is currently stood behind the bar. She looks around it, looks around her, and goes, "Done."
And then immediately goes back to her milk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we're walking and talking as in the carpet. Well, whoever's driving this carpet right now, I have no idea. And the bear is gonna follow.
Autopilot.
Like I was on the bear, but I've jumped on the carpet, and the bear can stay here. I'm gonna tell him to just chill at the bar. chill at the bar. Bear at the bar.
Those poor people. They're all sat there enjoying. They've just had this huge demon invasion, and suddenly. This giant bear just strolls into the bar.
Yeah, Eclipse is behind the bar, so a bear goes up to the bar. No,
Nice. Okay.
Weird. There's a cat behind the bar, a bear in front of the bar. I feel like this is a making of something.
It's definitely the start of a joke. Cool. So we're moving, and okay. Before we do this.
Yeah.
Would you tell me two things? What are you hoping to see? And what happened last time?
Before or after Well, I didn't die. I was dying, but yeah.
It was kind of bad. I mean, should we get dust?
Oh, no, don't worry. No. I'm much more powerful. I've got things. Well,
okay.
Should protect against that.
Okay.
It's a measure of.
Sure.
I don't know what I'm looking for really. The last time I did this. I was looking for family, and I guess I wasn't terribly specific. I think the souls or parts of those that died when the thing happened to my caravan, they're on some plane or city. It was very confusing and strange and painful. And of course, there was that giant undead. Were you there for the giant undead beast? Or was that the Eclipse and
No.
Glory?
Oh, you fought that while Aiden and I were helping Olivia. That was a weird night. I
That was the Lich Hound, yeah.
We have had a weird couple of months.
It's 1 month. 1.5 months.
Well, we've known each other for years, so for us, it's like it's been a weird couple of months.
2 years of knowing each other, and then a crazy month with these 3 others.
Yeah, like the insane, I need proper and
Okay, I don't know if you'll get them, but we can try.
yeah, I don't know either, but I've got to keep trying. I can't keep waking up every night screaming.
No, you definitely shouldn't do that. Okay, let's go
And then
do
we can
this.
go kill that guy in the gold mine for you.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I still didn't ask if that was a setup. I need to do
we
that.
can go. Yeah, go find out.
We don't even know if they're still alive. People died today, and we have no idea who. Let's go try and find your answers. Then swing by Freetown, see if people are still alive, or maybe I'll try this scrying thing for the first time. Maybe not in that machine. I don't know. If you nearly died, I probably would definitely die. Probably, definitely. That doesn't. Anyway, where is it again? The university? Was that just where we were?
Yeah, that's where I got the idea. Yeah, that's kind of where I got the idea from.
You're about a block away. Now you're on the other side of the city, but you can go back.
Let's hope the timey-wimey thing has calms down.
Might help.
Not if we get stuck somewhere else. Anyways. Okay. Waiting to be there.
You guys head off to the university, and we will pick that up either later in the session or next session. I'm going to skip to Aiden.
Yeah, go on, Aiden.
Hello.
You get into your room, shut the door, and just as you're shutting the door, you know that when you turn around, there's going to be a vision of someone sat in what was a split second ago an empty chair. And you can hear the crackling of a fire in the fireplace, even though you do not detect any heat.
Ida can just not catch a break.
Hey. I just had a very stressful day. Do you think we can postpone this for tomorrow? I already turned around. I'm ripping this up like a band-aid. Just
sure. Sat in the chair next to a spectral fire in the fireplace is a very dapper-looking gentleman in his visibly late 40s. The hair in a very old hairstyle that would be considered very out of place now. He's wearing old, what would seem to be almost nobility or high mercantile class clothing. And he has nestled in his hand a brandy glass with a very familiar red fluid inside it.
Oh, it's you.
Who
else is going to be? Hello.
A flying visit, I assure you. I'm sure your exertions today are taking quite the toll.
Yes, I'm quite fucking tired. What do you want?
What I always want. So, you succeeded, I take it. And he looks at the the bag that is still hanging from your belt.
Yeah. I mean, depends on what you mean on if I succeeded. If you mean by the unknowable, horrible being that was trying to make its way into our plane of existence, then that's a yes.
Oh, no, that's none of my business. It's rather boring, to tell you the truth. I'm talking about the lich.
Sorry. I'm sorry, that was out of character. Sorry.
Yeah, that's good. I'm talking about the lich you decapitated as you jumped valiantly through that portal.
Yeah, that also. I kind of forgot I had the lich.
Yeah, yeah. It's just a lich head in my bag. That's in my bag.
Yeah, this thing. Yeah, that was a success, I guess.
Like you say, you've had a busy day, and as he smiles, he is not hiding the fangs anymore. These giant fangs in his mouth.
Yeah.
Says, so you accept it all. My place in the Canelm family, bringing them the power in the first place that they took willingly, and my open patronage of your line.
As much as I hate it, yes.
As your friends are just learning, when one gets thrust into the annals of history and the mantle of responsibility, liking it is not a requirement. My blood courses through the veins of every essentially. And it courses through yours. Are you? And this is Simon speaking. Are you hurt at all? Do you have any wounds?
I just lost some hit points because I was I activated my Crimson Rite, but I imagine it's already faded. So.
Yeah. Okay. He kind of looks you over, gestures, and you can feel very minor cuts just flawlessly and scarlessly healing over.
I'm back at full, I imagine?
Yep.
Okay.
You have managed to sate the balance once again. The number of undead that owe their existence to the wretch whose head you now carry is substantial. They are nothing but dust, rotting flesh, and bones now. Well done. This is what we do. Anybody can fight a skeleton or a zombie, or a geist or a ghost. It is up to the Canalm line to cut the head off the beast. And we need new leaders. You are very much your mother's son.
I hope you're not suggesting what I think you're suggesting.
I suggest nothing. I simply say I sense greatness in you as I did in her.
Well, you have a baby, you can.
Oh, God damn it! Shut up! I instinctively just say, "Shut the fuck up, Eclipse."
You could hear her in your brain.
Continue to come out line with this baby.
Oh my god, is this Chris posting all over again?
Eclipse stupidity is so ingrained that it's a secondary voice in your head.
Shut the fuck up, Eclipse.
In order for you to step into my world, you had to become part of it. Now that you have my power coursing through your vein, the power of your line, you're able to do that. After all, the mantle, albeit in that terrible cut these days, would not respond to anyone other than your mother's offspring. As he mentions that, you twitch and your coat twitches with you.
Oof.
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
I must admit, the sidearm is a nice touch, something new. I think we, especially my kin, can be very set in our ways and not travel with progress. Your time in the city has prepared you well for the path ahead. And yet, soon it will be time to say goodbye.
Before... If you do me a favor, I just have one question that I hope you're able to answer.
Of course.
Where is she?
Home. And you notice he chokes on the word home.
I want to roll insight on not just on this, but on his entire spiel. I just want to know if I can trust him. Also, give me a moment. I'm sorry to ruin the moment, but I do have to deal with my cat right now. So, I'm just gonna roll, and I'm gonna have
Cats
to
are important.
deal with it. Yeah. Fuck off. That's a 10. Be right back.
So for I think everybody who's watching knows already, but Rodrigo is going to be going to yay kitty is going to be going to Australia
Kitty,
soon, and
kitty.
so we are separating Aiden into his own adventure, and the canon, the part of the canon that he
Kitty.
kind of took and ran with is that the Canelms are the Van Helsings of this world. So, because we want to be able to roleplay with Rodrigo again, albeit it'll be a time when it's our morning and his evening, or the opposite way around.
Yeah, it's going to be once in a blue moon where the planets align.
Yeah, on a weekend at some point. Yeah.
Kitty camera.
Give me a moment.
The
Vinny.
we will be doing one shots we'll be doing one shots that are specifically based around the Canelm family. So Aiden will come back, and for the most part, everybody else who will be playing in the one shot will be playing Van Helsing type characters. They'll be told to, kind of goth punk it up. So, yeah.
Well, Aiden leaves when Rodrigo leaves, essentially. So
yes,
yes.
And we will try to sync that up as best we can. So we're putting a bit of content in. Anyway, so you, I'm trying to think of where did we get in the notes? Damn it!
It wasn't a high roll; it was a 10. So.
Oh yes. So you did an insight check. Yeah, he seems to be telling the truth, and yet looking sad, guilty. Not quite sure which. There's definitely a form of remorse. You do also remember that he is deliberately emoting because he's so old that he's forgotten how to emote. So it's hard to read. Ripping that directly from Vampire the Masquerade.
Gotcha. Alright. Alright. That's...
We will be attempting to reach her in due course, but she's paying the price that we all pay.
Why can't just Hector just take over? I think he will. He would be better suited, and I also think he would actually like it. Why does it have to be me?
There are a few candidates. Hector, Alejandro, Maria. Each with their own strengths. And yet, when the homestead fell, it was you who thrived. The rest survived. It didn't feel like thriving, but that's because you met the pain head on. That's what I need. I need somebody who's going to understand and feel and know when to hit the bottle. The joke makes no sense. Don't worry. Don't try figuring it out. It only makes sense to him.
I know. It's not like I can weasel myself out of this one, isn't it?
Not likely. I promise you that you will, as your mother before you, find catharsis in taking them down, taking them out, culling the herd.
I get what you mean. You don't have to continue saying that. All right.
You're a hunter, Aiden. I did not make you a hunter. I merely made you able to survive the process.
All right. Sure.
When you're ready to leave, use the dust gate. Maria will be waiting for you. Until then, rest, grandson. And he disappears.
I wish I could fucking punch him one day. Anyways, so I start doing what I came here to do, and I just start grabbing all of my stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Just putting everything into a bag of holding.
Yep.
all of the things that's necessary. Any other anything that I don't need, I just leave behind, and I come down.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Noki
find
is in the middle of
Yoki.
talking to Glory, and Glory is specifying the various bits of the party. And Noki's there. Yes. I think we could do it this too. Yes. I'm not sure we have many of those left in the city, and I'm pretty sure they're illegal, but I'm pretty sure we can get our hands on them. That's not a problem.
Mm-hmm.
I go to Gnocchi, and I just go up to him and I'm like, if Renata asks where I am, just tell her on my behalf, and I quote, go fuck yourself. And if you need to know where I left the badge, I'm sorry, but it's somewhere out in a forest, I think. I don't remember where the institute was.
In the sea, in other words, because there's a crater there now.
It's
Maybe
probably
don't leave.
it's
Maybe don't
probably
leave now.
in the sea somewhere. Yeah.
I
I just love the
settled
idea that
down
they
there.
call your badge and there's a blub 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 blub. You tell her forward, new badge, who dis?
I'm sorry,
Oh.
Aiden. Cannot
Yeah.
be reached right now.
Well, Eclipse is still down there, and assuming because he's not lowering his voice or anything, I can hear
Oh, hell
this. I go up to Aiden and say, "Well, you can't really leave right now, Aiden, because that would be very rude to everybody here."
I ignore her and I keep saying, by the way, just say that I said that on verbatim, so that way you don't get in trouble with her. I don't.
I'm sure she would understand that it was your words and not ours.
Noki gives
I'm
a
trying
sad.
to make it so you can stay until you actually have to leave, so you don't have to sit there and do nothing.
He's just leaving. He's just leaving the tavern. He's not leaving the city. He's leaving the tavern.
I'm not leaving the city. I'm
Yeah.
I'm just leaving the tavern.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah. And so,
do you have somewhere to stay, or should I set you up with somewhere?
Dude, just the fucking horizontal surface is enough.
You know, Aiden, that you are welcome on the Liberty.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can sleep
just
on the Liberty.
to make it easier if we stay in the same place, so you don't have to swip over.
Question. Actually, I got an idea. Did Cora and Farewell just leave, or they're about to leave? I don't know how time is working right now.
I'm gonna say they've just left.
Well, I was gonna say if you want,
unless you have a convenient that you want to do.
Yeah,
because I was going to say that I was if they were just leaving, I could just go hang out with them and go around the city checking,
Sure. Okay. Yeah, we can say that. That's not a problem. It's it's not, well, I was about to say it's not important to narrative. It is important to narrative, but it doesn't do anything for me. I do just get one thing out though, and that is that Noki listens to every word that you say, gives a kind of sad and conciliatory smile, and nods as he's kind of course, Aiden. And he reaches into his waist jacket, which he has on. He has the kind of open waist jacket over a shirt, far more stylish than I am. And he kind of apologetically pulls out a letter and holds it out for you.
I take it.
Sure. He lets go of it and says, "Be safe. Be well."
I'll try.
I didn't until you actually have to leave. I do recommend staying where we are, just so we know that you're safe.
Sure. Sure. Okay.
So, are you going to be staying in the Hawk and Harness or on the Liberty and just telling them that you're there?
I'm probably gonna. Right now, I could for the party, I'm probably gonna stay at the Hawk and Harness, but afterwards I'm going to be at the Liberty.
Sure, no problem. Okay. Yeah, the Chakaman, as far as they're concerned, see that they can do some good here. And as
I want Suki to be at the party. I want him to. I want to play 2 characters.
No.
Let me play my character.
No. So the yeah, you go outside Iden, and you can see that Farewell and Cora have just finished the conversation that you heard them have, and they're just stepping onto the carpet.
Mind if I join you?
Sure. Always
Alright. Thanks.
We're about to do something stupid.
As we fly away.
So, just FYI.
Oh, I'm all down for something stupid. Everything I do is stupid, and I open the letter. I want to read it. What's in it?
It just says "Safe travels," signed Renata.
All right.
You alright?
That's a difficult question to answer. Just let's get going.
Fair enough. Shall we?
You up into the air, and flying over the streets, you do see that there's a few people who have clearly been told of your involvement in freeing the city.
I barely did anything.
The fights around the city have ended, and you do see people waving at you as you fly overhead. You do also see that they've dragged the bodies of many of the demons into pyres, and you can see that around the pyres either people are finding fuel to burn the bodies, or you're seeing Magi Domestica just conjuring, create bonfire effectively, and just people are coming up and very silently watching the bodies burn. Some sort of reassurance that they need to know that it's ended. It's over. You're not seeing much in the way of, at least not as much as you expect, of mourning. You do see the occasional few people being brought out on carts, on kind of stretchers and biers, and they're being taken to the various cathedrals and churches around the city. You can see as you fly over the merchant district that the bodies are being taken to the temple of Arathis, goddess of civilization, of law and order. And then you pass over the area around the university on your way there, and you see as they pass very solemnly with slightly more well-to-do figures going towards the Church of Ioun, the god of knowledge, sometimes referred to as the goddess of knowledge, because Ioun in Aleria is truly gender fluid, doesn't have a fully male or female form, and can be depicted, and by depicted I mean can appear anthropomorphically as male, female, or non-binary in between.
Usually depicted as female, though, if I believe correctly.
There is a romanticized element that society believes Ioun to be female, largely due to the link with a muse. So muses being the inspiration for bards. Ironically, Ioun doesn't really have many muses. They do have muses, but Corellon is actually has the most. The Raven Queen has dark muses, as does Sahanin, goddess of the moon. And the dark muses tend to inspire, to do with fate, to do with trickery. In the case of Sahanin, and both of them, both of them also inspiring love, but slightly different ways. You start to come down to the main building of the university, knowing that you can't fly into the main grounds itself. People who try to go into the courtyard find themselves going through quite the headache as they go through a lot of folded space. Because, as I've said before, the university is around about 12 times the size of the building that you see. It folds in on itself and has a number of demi-plane chambers within it. So it's always best just to come down to the front gate and walk in. Most scholars do, because they can't cope with going through the planar shift. And there's a pair of guards. You see a pair of Eldritch Knights in front of you. And the second that you walk up to the gates, they snap to attention and open the gates for you. No question about who you are.
I could get
Feels
used
weird
to
to have. It feels really weird having that sort of recognition.
It's nice though.
Cora remembers the days where she would be kicked out of pretty much
Yes.
any part of the city that has a guard. Normally with a swift boot to the butt.
Still remember when I was treated as nothing more than a hobo, but with a sword.
To be fair, you kind of smelled
hobo
like
with
and
a
looked
sword.
like a hobo.
Yeah.
I didn't ask.
You were a hobo with a sword and looked like a hobo with a sword.
I will, I will roll the carpet up. I will strap it to my back like the good old pack mule that I am.
Sorry, farewell.
It's just my character's been resolved. I mean, I feel like the party.
I can't.
Yeah, I feel like the party barbarian, the only one strong enough to carry anything.
But you're our Bob.
Give you fucking Bob in a minute.
So Bob, to explain this, Bob is a Swedish terminology for carry and pay. So it's a name given to mostly like husbands when they're out and about with their wives who are going shopping, and then the man is the Bob, the one who's carrying and everything and paying for everything. So it's bära och betala.
Yeah. I've never had enough money to qualify for being a Bob. I've only been an Ob in the past, so yeah.
Yeah, no, I've been there.
I never gone shopping with my partner, but when I go to countries that have a bunch of like a bunch of shit that I don't have here in El Salvador, I just usually go nuts. So I'm kind of being that for myself.
Yes.
Nice.
But yes, it's we have terms for a lot of stupid things, and it's funny.
Right. Okay.
One of my yeah, go on.
Yeah, I was supposed to say let's before we derail ourselves too much. I'll look at Cora, give her a nod, and I'll start making my way towards where the scrying machines are.
Sure. As you head there, he says, quickly changing screen. As you head there, a dwarven figure walks up to you with huge ornate robes. You know this as Galena Blackforge, the Archmagister of the Imperial University of Osterville. She is a quiet person by nature, but when her ire gets up, she can be a force to be reckoned with. Not because she's an incredibly powerful wizard, although that does help, but also she's a very strong-willed character. Type of person who is pensive, observant, but oh my god, if you get in her way. And you have heard rumors, to refer back to previous session notes, that she's the type of scholar who believes that the ends justify the means, and she will do anything for greatness. So this has been told to you before. Glory knows a bit more about her from the role that she had back in session. God knows what, I've just got it down here as lore. And she walks up to you, and you notice that two of her teeth have been knocked out on the one side of her mouth. And it looks like recently, Farewell, you've got enough medical knowledge, and again, you used to do things like dentistry in Freetown before you started becoming an adventurer. And yeah, you can tell that these have been recently knocked out, perhaps in a fight. And she strides up and goes, "The city owes you a great debt."
Hi.
Oh, sorry. Hello. And I don't think I've seen you before. And she points directly at Aiden.
He's a friend of ours.
Oh, I know who he is. I just don't think I've met you face to face.
Guess not.
I'm desperately looking at Cora to be like, save us! Save us!
Save these awful men who can't use charisma.
Yeah, this is Aiden. He's, well, you know, he's part of our group.
His reputation precedes him, dear.
Excellent.
What can I do for the heroes of the hour?
We have an important mission which requires us to use certain tools that you have here that we do not have.
You wish to use the oraculum again? It's fine. It's fine.
It's very important for the safety of the world. I can't even do that seriously. But Cora takes it very seriously.
Yes.
The fate of the world requires on us doing this very stupid thing.
Yeah.
Is this a deception roll?
Oh shit!
Sure.
I don't know either. You decide.
Roll of some
you a roll.
kind. Well, if you're how much are you lying?
Well, I don't really know what it is, but it's probably
What's on the
it's
dice?
nothing to do with this. What's on the dice is actually an 18, so
okay.
Not too
that
shabby.
passes on most things. She kind of goes. I didn't realize there was a pressing moment still. But of course,
Hopefully
I
not,
kind
but-
of expected you to come back anyway. Once you've looked into the oraculum, it tends to give you more questions than answers to start with. Please,
well,
please.
let's hope there's some answers.
And she bustles through the corridors, and the scholars, who are usually quite self-absorbed, and you remember last time you came through here, you know, you're bumping into them all the time, they part for this authority. And she's not exactly...
I'm starting to feel really weird about this.
She's not exactly a kind of, like, a rage-filled dwarf. If anything, as I say, she seems to be quite gentle in her temperament, in her demeanor. And but when you walk up, they part like she's about to blast them. And you get there in double quick time. You can't the twisting and turning through the different corridors. You're not entirely sure if you could find your way back. In fact, you're pretty sure you passed through your own path twice. As in, you're pretty sure you went back through a corridor that you don't remember having a turning. It's all very weird. The geometry.
Scooby-Doo doors.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very strange. Yeah.
Is she the lady who helped Farewell when he kind of collapsed or whatever it was last time?
That was, I think, just an attendant at the time.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
but you did speak to Galena before going in there.
Okay.
So, here we are, and she just gestures to the antechamber, which seems to be a place where people go in. They have the visions. They come out into the antechamber, write up their observances or look things up. There's books on the walls, but that's pretty much every room in this institute. No, don't say that I would. In this university.
We're back in the institute. Oh my god.
You never left. You never left.
Oh, the thing I don't remember
what the
because I was
hell?
wrong.
I've got to avoid that word for a while now, don't I?
Yeah.
We could have a full like, Planet of the Apes moment. You damn dirty apes!
You're blowing up!
You're blowing all up, damn you!
Excellent.
So you're in the antechamber, and there's a different attendant to before, and she says, "I assume that you remember the last time you went in there."
I look at Farewell like, yeah, you remember what happened the last time that we went there.
She nods to the
yeah,
attendant.
yeah,
The attendant waves a hand, and these two large doors open up. And inside is a perfectly spherical chamber. On the inside, what seems to be natural formations of crystal coming out of a very bright, very clean metal almost mirror-like, but without the gloss. So it's like a perfect mirror, but then just a slight haze over the top, so that you can see reflections, but you can't see details. And there's a platform that goes into the middle of this room, and there are, let me check, there are 6 mirrors in pairs of 2, 3 pairs of 2, facing each other, slowly rotating around, hovering in midair. And once you walk into the middle of the chamber, these 6 mirrors will be slowly revolving around you. What would you like to do?
Before he walks in, I'm gonna dig into my bag. Well, I'm going to both grab one of the healing potions and my restorative ointment and just hold them and go, don't make me don't make me use these. Be careful.
I'll be as careful as I can be.
I know, it's kind of restorative. I know you can't. Be careful.
Okay.
You don't die. Again.
Farewell sort of like limbers up, even though this has got no physicality to it whatsoever. Yeah. He's sort of like, he's staring at the squats. Mirror. He's like, there going,
I actually, like, while he's doing all of that, I'm like, oh god. I put away one of the bracelets.
We see him do all that, and I literally go, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, he looks like a 70s high school gym coach getting ready for class. It's a little
Brilliant.
Embarrassing.
I will dig out a small piece of the broken music box, and I hand it to him, and just say,
oh,
for luck.
Okay.
Thank you. What I'll do is I've got like little pouches on my belt where I keep a lot of my reagents that I used, and I will just tuck it in there so it's nice and safe because it's right next to my holy symbol, so it won't get lost. So it's in there. And then as I walk up to the mirror, I place a hand on my chest and I go, "Oh, deathless lady, please protect me in this hour," and I cast Death Ward on myself.
Okay.
Smart.
So it does mean that if I technically drop to 0 in the next 8 hours, I'll come back up again. So, right. And
interesting metaphysics going on here, but yep.
And I anything else? Anything else? And he sort of starts thinking about what spells he's got. And he sort of goes, "No, let's just go for it." And I'll look into the oraculum and begin the ritual.
Sure. You step because these things aren't going too fast. When the mirrors get to a point where you can step in, you step between them, walk into the center of the chamber, and you start to relax. And it's this relaxed focus looking into the ether. You can see the crystals kind of bouncing within the mirrors as well. So you're either looking directly at them, or a mirror goes past and you see them moving behind you. And in between all the crystals, you can see that strange, fuzzy reflection, reflected. And it draws you in and draws you in. And you realize soon that the image of these crystals is just in your mind, and that your eyes are seeing nothing. The mental imagery of the oraculum around you fades away, and it is fading to black, but you were already seeing nothing. You were already looking into this dark void, and all you had to do was just let go of your perception of the oraculum around you. You can feel the darkness kind of there, that you're becoming part of it, that you're going to be able to perceive and move around this this space. And as you do so, you realize that you're not there yet. You're not seeing it yet. Well, you're seeing it, but through a window. And if you wanted to see it again, as you did before, you're going to have to drop the death ward.
Oh.
When you kind of reach out with your mind, it's if I could put what's in your mind into a physical aspect, you reach out to the image that you want to scrutinize, and your hand goes up against a pane of, let's call it glass. And you realize the pane of glass is the death ward itself. And if you want to pass through, you have to drop it. I told you the metaphysics of this was great. I was like, oh, you're using that? That's really fascinating.
Farewell sort of just shakes his head and drops the death ward. He trusts us, right?
Oh my god.
And just like that, even though there's no air, there's no sensation of distance, total sensory deprivation, you still feel, just in your mind, that you go from being there, stationary, in front of this pane of glass, to falling. Falling. We step out to your predicament, to Cora, who was going to have something to do with this, but very cleverly gave Farewell a piece of the puzzle box, the music box. As she's watching Farewell standing there with this 1,000-yard stare, a voice just over her shoulder says, "You can step in, you know. It's just a dream. It's all a dream. You just need to do it. Step forward. Be part of it."
Is this voice familiar?
Yes.
Is it my patron? Patron?
Yes, your patron.
You believe that it's your patron. You believe that the Summer King is whispering to you, but instead of his usual nobility and his kind of joyous, frivolous voice, he's being very serious right now.
I pull out another piece of the broken music box and I clutch it in my hand and I walk forward. I say to Aiden, because he's obviously standing next to me, and like, "I'll be right back," and I walk.
What the fuck do you mean by that?
She steps forward and fucking disappears, like gone.
Oh my god, are you serious?
Yeah,
I'm so happy that you came with us.
We said we were going to do something stupid.
Stupid.
Yeah. Stupid indeed.
So
Stayed. Talk clips.
It was a great campaign, everyone. Thanks so much.
Yeah. It was 57 episodes of just pure joy, but welcome to the TP game.
But the other guys are having a party. We're just
when the other part of the party isn't even there.
Yeah, you're just like
Kate.
Where are the others? Yeah, sorry.
Cora steps into absolute nothingness. You didn't think there were any sounds going on before. There was no fire lit in the grate. Nobody was talking. Everybody was just watching Farewell. The occasional breath, the shuffle of feet. But even those sounds aside, you've gone from the sound of just being in existence to absolute nothingness. And it's only now that you don't hear it, you don't feel it, that you realize there's a sound of the blood rushing in your ears, the sound of you breathing. Sounds that you can never truly get away from. And yet, you've stepped into absolute nothingness. After a while, the shock wears off, and you can't see a hand in front of your face, but you can feel it as you pat your body and realize that wherever you are, you're there physically. But there's no air. You breathe out, puff on your hand, and the breath doesn't get as far as your hand. But you are breathing. You take a big breath.
I'm gonna look where I think my hand is, and I'm going to imagine that I'm holding a flower. I think I'm in a dream. Last time I made things reality, so I'm gonna try that.
Roll me in. What would it be? It would be a.
Have I used this dice too much?
Charisma. It's just a charisma check, no proficiency, disadvantage.
Ooh,
okay.
Come on, Kate.
Oh, okay. I rolled a 7 and an 8. So
But
charisma though. Did you say saving throw or just a charisma
No, it's a check.
Okay, so 8, 9, 10, 12.
Okay, you feel something momentarily between your fingers, and then it's gone. You're not quite sure if you imagined it, but that's kind of the point. You were trying to imagine it.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just standing inside in the darkness still. Is that?
You're falling through the darkness, both you and Farewell.
Oh, okay. So
Can we
do I
see each
feel
other?
like I'm falling? Yeah. Do I?
Oh yeah, you feel the sensation that you're falling.
So I
There's
feel
no
weightless.
wind
But I'm weightless, like I'm underwater.
You don't feel weight. You don't feel yourself tumbling over.
No,
you just,
but I'm not
because
feeling
there is
the
no
floor.
Up, there's no down.
There's no floor.
No, you're not feeling the floor. You feel like you're falling.
I am imagining Farewell, and I'm reaching out my hand, trying to grab his.
Charisma check, no disadvantage.
Which dice?
And do I have any awareness of what she's doing?
Nope.
Okay, cool.
This
I'll
one's
carry
a
on.
15.
Okay, Farewell. You're falling through the darkness. Not just the darkness, the nothingness. Darkness is the absence of light. This is nothingness. And just out of nowhere, a hand just grabs your leg.
In the manliest way possible, because of course that is the only way to react.
That's a lie.
Farewell lets out an absolute scream of sheer terror. Sheer pant-wetting, blood-curdling.
You're gonna wet yourself all over me.
Yeah, he screams. It's not a yell, it's a scream. Because of course, last time he was in here, he almost died. He's dropped all his protections for almost dying, and now something has grabbed him out of the darkness. So,
Sure.
Yeah, he screams.
So Cora hears nothingness, nothingness, nothingness. She reaches out, thinking of Farewell. Her hand hits something, and then she hears a very familiar Homer scream.
Do I see him though, or I'm just feel?
You see nothing.
Ah.
You heard the scream, but it's kind of a dream scream. Your ears aren't hurting. You just get the intensity of it in your mind.
I call out, "I'm here, friend."
And
Is this your leg? And then I try and work my way up to find a hand without touching anything. I hope.
Yeah, you're this little halfling. Just, and bear in mind, Farewell. I want to really make clear what this feels like, right? When her hands aren't touching you, there's nothingness. You feel nothing against your skin. It is absolute background of nothingness. And then suddenly the hand is just there. It just exists. And then because she's climbing up, it's like hand exists, hand doesn't exist, hand exists somewhere else, hand doesn't exist. And it's just this. It's the weirdest fucking
Does the
thing.
scream
It's like this
get
hand...
higher pitched as it go up the leg?
This is the epiphany of sensory overload. Because there's only one sensation.
And he just starts slapping himself, but it's always like a second after the hands disappeared. So he never quite grabs it, and he's just going.
Out of interest, did he actually hear me, or does he just feel hands?
Oh, he heard you.
He heard me.
You.
Okay.
I said after you said the line, I said you've heard him.
Okay. Okay.
But of course, all he's heard in the darkness was, I'm here, friend.
Yeah. His brain is like off all over the place.
Cora,
Yes.
please stop moving. Please stop moving. And I will, if she does stop moving, I will then sort of grab and like lift up to like head height, so I can see. So it actually is. I pray
Just
to God.
very quickly, Farewell, give me a charisma check.
Ooh,
Yeah,
thank
the
you for
guy
the
with
cheer.
the -2 charisma.
Ooh.
Oh, thank you so much.
Wonky. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt, but that was cool. I saw it flash up.
4.
4.
I'm very charismatic.
You bring your hands down to you're thinking, well, if her left hand is here and her right hand is here, then clearly there's something in between, and you put your hands down and there's nothing there. Your hands pass through where logically Cora should exist.
Oh dear.
Ooh.
Cora, are you there?
Yes, and I try and find where his hands are holding me, and I try and grab for his hand.
Sure. You grab his hand.
Oh, okay.
That's unnerving to no end. You will not tell anybody about this. As far as we're concerned, this never happened, and whatever you do, you will not tell Glory. Of anyone.
Probably a good idea. Can you see anything?
You kind of forgot that I was in the Oraculum with
Yeah,
you guys, right?
I didn't totally know.
Oh my God!
But he doesn't know what's going on inside.
Yeah. So, you're so Aiden, you're hearing only what Farewell says in this scene. You're not hearing Cora because Cora's gone. She's not here.
Right.
She's gone, dude. She's gone. And now
I'm
he's
hearing
just talking to
Farewell
random
say,
people.
Yeah, I'm just hearing Farewell say we don't have to tell anyone about this. I literally tell I'm right here, you know.
And you guys don't hear a thing.
All right.
I have no idea how you're doing this. I'm a little worried that you shouldn't be here. And I am so happy you're here.
To just clarify, because this is a really weird plane of existence, Farewell, you're currently talking to the sensation of a hand on your hand, but if you, for example, try to move your thumb up to put the thumb on the knuckle, there's nothing there. So it's just the sensation of her grabbing you, but you can't touch her back.
Oh, that is so
weird.
Messed up.
Let's just get this over with, shall we?
Sure. You fall for what seems like days, weeks, and yet, strangely, you don't seem to get bored, or hungry, or thirsty. There's just a feeling of the passing of maybe distance, for want of a better word. You're progressing through this plane, and weeks in, suddenly you hear, yeah, just out of nowhere, just this strange audio thing, and if you want, you can confirm with each other that it wasn't the other one, and it's the first sound that you've heard other than each other in, now time doesn't seem to matter, but a long time, I guess, for want of a, well, if that could exist here. And Cora, you start hearing it screaming. It sounds like an eerie church choir heard maybe down a very tinny corridor, or maybe a very long echoey corridor, but only if that church choir was screaming at high pitch, screaming out desperately to be heard, just over and over and over again. I would like you to do a perception check, please. Farewell, you've heard this before. You are allowed to roll another perception check if you want. If it beat your previous score, then you'll get more.
Ooh, okay. Wish me luck.
Well, look.
Cora first.
By the way, can I guidance myself?
You can call for guidance, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I will call for guidance. As
Sure.
I feel,
Guidance is always the answer.
as I feel, I need some fucking guidance.
Sure.
Oh, that's good. That's good. You first, Kate.
Cora
18.
18. Yeah, you managed to pick out that there's
This was
screaming.
perception,
farewells.
wasn't it? Yeah, perception.
Perception, yeah.
Yeah.
You pick out of the sound this kind of strange. I'm going to give a strange reference. You've either heard it or you haven't, but there is a threnody to the peoples of Hiroshima. It's a string piece, and they start off this very eerie piece with the strings sounding like bombs falling, the screaming of the bombs falling, and it sounds very much like that in my head. And you know that in amongst this unearthly wail is Farewell's name.
Oh God,
And
I
it's
hear
more
them.
than one individual. As I say, it's like a choir of people. And I only say choir because they're kind of in unison in a way. You're not sure if it's echoing or some people aren't synchronized with the others, but there's certainly a lot of them and they're all trying to say the same thing.
I tighten my grip on Farewell.
Yeah.
Okay.
Every night. I rolled a 27.
27.
I got a 4 on my guidance. I can't. And an 18 on the dice. I was like, oh my god.
Farewell, you recognize one of the voices in the choir. There's a moment in amongst the screaming where somebody seems to give that little bit extra effort. And I would like you to name somebody from your background document that was lost
fucking
on
hell.
the caravan.
Oh, gotta,
You get to choose.
I'm gonna pull that up now. It's like, what do you mean backstory? What's backstory?
We have those?
We have those?
What the fuck is that?
Yeah. Hold on.
Essays you
Sorry.
gave me months ago. Months ago? Years ago. Year ago.
Yeah, I
Year
wrote
ago.
a lot.
Yeah. Don't
I
remind me of
actually-
how long that one is.
Yeah. Shit.
I still add
Sorry
to
about
it.
this. Sorry, I can't find my. Everything is. Everything freezes. I'm legitimately panicking. I'm like, this is plot. There it is. There it is. There it is. I really should keep that actually around. That's probably useful. Farewell will focus for his grandfather. Farewell Senior.
Okay. As you
He's go.
listen, you do hear the voice screaming out for farewell. And it's clearly being said. They're not saying farewell, farewell. They are saying your name. They're calling out to you. And there's a feeling that they somehow know that you're out here. That you're in this plane of existence. Your grandfather was one of the people lost when the caravan was attacked. When you came to, he wasn't around. He was gone. No body. Do me a... I guess it's an insight check.
Oh, I fucking love you, dice. Finally, you roll. The last time I did this, if you remember, I rolled like shit.
Yeah.
All the fucking.
Oh yeah.
Insight. 28.
28. When this sound comes to you, and you finally focus on your grandfather's voice, you realize that it's not sound. It is it is effectively call it a spell out of character, call it maybe a prayer in character, or maybe a channeling. I think a channeling would probably be the better thing. They are trying to project their consciousness to you. In the same way that Cora was able to lock onto, well, specifically the music box, she had a good chance just because you're you and your best friends, but she gave you a piece of the music box, and that really, really helped. That actually stopped it being a roll, and that was just right. I have an anchor. I'm off, and that was it. You know, well, you don't know, but you theorize from this, just on a perfectly empathic point of view, that Cora reached out with her sense of self, with her identity, to connect with yours. And the screaming in your direction, there's desperation, there's fear, there's panic, but they're not screaming your name, they're trying to connect with you. And when you focus on your grandfather's voice, you realize it's, instead of sound, it's these people and their consciousness just going out into the void and trying to connect with something falling through the void. And just as you're focusing, one of them just touches you. And you don't get a conversation out of this. You don't get a message out of this. What you do is get a series of points of knowledge. You are in the void. The void is one of the pathways to the mortal gate. There are a few. Some of them are anthropomorphized. The River Styx, for example, has a particular section that goes straight to the mortal gate. There are halls that the Raven Queen built that go between what you know as the prime material plane and the mortal gate. This is old, as in creation old. It is the void, the black space. Not even black. Black doesn't exist here. Complete nothingness. And the people who are screaming that you think are the people from the caravan are in this void trying to reach out to you. And you realize that this is an entropic plane. That this plane of existence is where energy disappears into and becomes nothingness. And you theorize that especially magic goes and ends up in the maelstrom, where it kind of cycles back around and becomes the free energy of the universe. This is similar to that, is that it's the kind of a sinkhole for all of that. And yet the people from the caravan aren't falling into nothingness. They were here before, and they're here again. Now, you're not quite sure if time exists in this plane of existence, so it could be that them shouting at you now is exactly the same time as they were shouting at you last time. And the knowledge from your grandfather, he just says one word. Oh, it doesn't say a word. You get the knowledge of one word. The box.
Fuck. I knew I shouldn't have been ignoring that.
And as you tumble through the void, you realize that one of the artifacts that your family were entrusted with is somehow involved. You know that when the caravan, when you woke up and you went through the caravan, the box was missing. You presumed that it was just taken along with everything else. The box wasn't particularly ornate, that maybe they tried to use it to put other things in and then realized that once they put things in the box, it disappeared. But when the thought, the box, turns up, it's that box from your background, from the bio you wrote a year ago.
Things are biting me in the ass now. Is there any way, you're saying that they're trying to reach out through the knowledge and the skills that Farewell's gotten over the sort of time and growth that he's had. And that is such a distracting gift. I love you, Corinne. I love you so much. Of rituals that Farewell can sort of open himself up at and embrace that sensation. God, stop staring at it. It's staring right in my soul. It's staring right into my soul.
What specifically are you? What are you letting in?
Nick Cage.
Not Nick Cage.
Yeah, at the moment, all I can think of is Nick Cage. It literally was the first thing that popped into my head. I was like that. I was like, oh, Corinne, you pain in my ass.
To be fair,
so
he's appropriate for any situation.
Absolutely. Well, Nick Cage is now canon in this story.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Never.
Cage, please.
Fantasy Nick Cage.
Is it? I want to try and help them pass on. To be a conduit to move through. If I hold a planar key, if I hold the ability to pick a fate or destiny or whatever you want to call it that I prefer. So I want to initially try and manifest the knife in my hand.
The knife appears and you feel it in your hand.
And then I want to see if I can somehow, as I said, channel them to where they should be. And not perhaps caught in limbo.
Okay.
And I'm willing to do a divine intervention roll if that would help. Because I've got a fucking no chance in fucking hell, but I've got divine intervention now, and fuck it, let's use it.
Let's use the shit I got.
Roll it.
Yeet.
If you get 10 on the dice, you might.
Well, it's a D100 and a D10, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah, it's percentile and D10, and you have to roll under your level or under.
I rolled a 0 on,
Shut the fuck up.
On the percentile dice, and I rolled a 9 on the D10.
No, that's 90. That's 90.
Yeah.
Wait, no, isn't the other way around?
No.
I thought it was 9.
It's
but...
9.
It's
9.
It's
9.
It's
9.
Surely it's 9.
It's 9. You did it. You did it.
Just fuck up. This never happens.
D10 is the units. So, okay. You focus the energy and you call...
I'm going to share that, because not that you don't believe me.
No, you thought that was 90, dude. That's fine.
It never happens. I've never had a divine intervention work for me.
I've had a divine intervention twice. One was underwhelming, the other one was spectacular. So you call her name and reach out with a key. As you're now kind of thinking, you've been thinking this more as a key and less as a knife. And as you call upon her, you don't hear it, don't see it. Cora doesn't hear it. Cora doesn't see it. But you know, just intrinsically, that you have just passed through one of the rifts that you're capable of creating, and you've gone to somewhere else in the void. As you're passing through the void, you get a sensation of identity. A distant cousin, your grandfather, people from the caravan that you knew were lost, and they are just motes of existence here in the void. And you try to gauge what they are, and you hear this voice, which sounds a lot like Feline Trickster, in the back of your head, going, "Power. Whoever it is using them for power, holding them here in this plane of entropy, harvesting them, the power that they have, not dying, not alive, but somehow taking their place in existence as anchors. Yes, anchors. Somehow attracting the free energy of the universe that passes through this plane, that normally passes into all living creatures, but with no body, just using their souls as magnets, maybe? Pulling the energy to where? It does not pass through. Normally, it passes through this plane, of which I am one of the gatekeepers. And it does not pass back into the world. At least, not where it's supposed to. For someone to harness this energy so freely would make them so incredibly powerful. We need to get you out of there.
No, not me. Don't pull me. Don't pull me. Save them, please. Anybody but me.
It's not as simple as that, farewell. It is not as simple as that. But we will come back for them. Now, it does you no good to fall to the final destination of this plane. I need my champion. You will do nothing if you become nothing. You can feel power swelling up in the knife, and there's this ripping sensation, and you're pulled into your body again, and the mirrors are passing. And we will leave with just one.
I was going to ask.
Oh, go on.
I was going to ask just before we end the stream. I think Glory wanted to do something. She mentioned there was one thing that she wanted to do. So I was wondering if we could just have another 10 minutes to do that.
Sure.
We
will do Glory's thing. I have a feeling that a big party episode is coming up, which is why I was kind of pinching off her time now, going, yeah, I'm pretty sure she's going to run the show next session.
Are you fine with having like a big party episode next time, focused more on Glory, Felicia, or?
The party was more gonna be a side thing, just for flavor, so that's fine.
I'm happy. I'm happy doing the 10 minutes with you, and then I'm gonna finish with a single sentence for Kate. So, Glory, whilst all of this is going on, you are with Noki, back in your little HQ. Various people who have been called in by Noki, Madeline, and a few of the others are turning up. You do notice that at the back of the room there is a live, strangely moving hooded figure that is seems to have got in the room without anybody noticing and is now sat on a chair in the corner.
Interesting. Okay, I can get back to that. So I will set things up with Noki and them, and then Glory will head out for a moment, because while she was up getting herself ready, she penned a few letters that needs to be sent off. Amongst them...
Oh, you broke the DM! Hey,
I broke the DM. We now have legendary items.
Fine. You want to send post? No, can't be done.
No!
I feel like anytime Simon disconnects, it's like the entire world just blue screens.
Yep.
Like all of Illyria, just blue screens.
Please see your vendor. So, you know that the nearest post, it's more of a post kiosk.
No, that is not where I'm going.
Okay.
Whoa.
Where are you going?
Maybe she's gonna hand deliver.
To my... No. I know where a few of Auntie's agents are in this town. I'm gonna send a few things home.
Sure.
So on the way there, I will just grab a few things, such as the head of a few of the demons, an Inquisitor, maybe a Geminax, because I know that Auntie will love that.
Okay. You go to Burka Foss. Burka is one of the agents for Skalra in the city, and she is a one-armed laborer. She had two arms when she first got here, but due to an industrial accident, she only has the one arm, and she's currently saving up to have the right arm regrown by magic. You know that she could afford it 6 or 7 times over, but for the purposes of having a believable story in the city, she has to wait until her character gets the money, as opposed to the very reasonable trust fund she has back in Atalzaran. She currently is drawing nails in a small blacksmith workshop around about 10 minutes walk away. You know that the hooded figure is following you the entire time.
Fair enough. Either way, I will drop off my things together with some flowers I buy on the way, because I need to send flowers to my darlingest hope with my letters, obviously.
Yeah.
Because, nothing screams Roman as demon heads and flowers.
Flowers that are probably gonna be they're gonna be dead by the time they arrive. Because
but it's the thought that counts.
You give the items to Burka. Burka walks to the corner of the forge, opens up a nondescript saddlebag, and puts the letters in, then the demon head, and then the flowers, and the bag is no bigger for putting all of those items. She closes the bag, nods to you, and goes back to her work. Not a second word said.
I head out, and just in the direction back, picking up some odds and ends on the way, obviously, and casually go up next to the hooded figure and why don't we go back and talk?
The hood comes back, and a familiar serpentine face goes, "Yes, turned out you're a bigger player than I thought." And as she says thought, this little forked tongue shoots out as Vetra is checking up on you.
Well, I'd hope so.
The Queen sends her regards.
Now that is absolutely fantastic. How about a drink to celebrate the recent victory and all?
After you. And this, as I say, serpentine moving figure walks with you back to the Hawk and Harness, which is where I'll start with you next session. And Cora, you're holding tight to Farewell's hand. And then just suddenly you feel this popping sensation as Farewell, we know, goes back to his body. And you keep tumbling and tumbling and tumbling.
What? Oh, shit. No way! I wouldn't let that happen! No way!
I was wondering! That's amazing!
Good job, Farewell.
And we will leave it there.
Panic attack when he
That
realized this.
I rolled divine intervention, and there's no way you're telling me that wouldn't have pulled us both out.
Yeah,
your Raven Queen
goddess.
hates my ass.
You're not good enough for my boy.
Oh, that's amazing. It's so cool.
My green boy, stay
motherfucker.
away!
Yeah, you called the Raven Queen back to. Oh, actually, are we off air yet?
No.
In that case, we're going to say goodbye. That was tumbling and tumbling and tumbling.
Oh,
Should have
right.
been the last line. Sorry.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay,
in
we're
that case,
going to
Thank
credits.
you, everybody, for
Yeah,
viewing, and we will see you next week.
next week.
Good night.
Motherfucker!